Great Tuesday morning to you. Winning Tuesday on your home for Padres baseball and your home for Annie and Elsten. Your new midday hang is back with you for the next 4 hours with Annie Heilbrunn. I'm Craig Elsten. Braden Suprenant here as well in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon, hoping for the gray skies to part today and hoping for blue skies to stay above Coors Field as the Padres and Rockies get ready for Game 2 later tonight. Annie, what's going on this morning?
Craig, happy Tuesday. Braden, happy Tuesday. It is a little gloomy these days. We're in like April gloom. April.
Yeah,
April doom leads to May gloom.
The May gray is early.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful to be here.
Great. Yeah. Happy to be here as well. We're excited.
I have to tell you, I did watch. You'll be proud. I did watch the end of the Nuggets-Lakers game.
You did? Okay.
Night,
all right.
I'm sure we'll get to it later.
I did build a segment for Crazy NBA today. But did you like
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was great. It was good theater.
Yeah.
That post-game show is really good too.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
They do a great job. But if you wonder why it took me to the morning to get into the rundown, I was pretty depressed at the end of that game. So.
Oh, that's right, Braden. He's a Lakers fan.
I'm a Lakers fan.
I'm
a lifelong Lakers fan.
I'm sorry. I keep forgetting.
Craig has watched that episode against the Nuggets 10 times in a row.
That's right.
Yeah.
10 straight times.
Yeah.
I was going for the Nuggets. Hate to tell you, although I do enjoy LeBron.
Yeah.
And then the way that the whole arena just reacted.
If
it makes you feel better, Craig, at least Adam didn't tweet at you thoughts and prayers like he did at Tony Gwynn Jr.
Yeah, well,
did Tony go to the no, I guess he couldn't have made it to the game.
Wouldn't it be amazing if he kind of like tried to just go to the basketball game, slip away from the baseball game?
Can we get this game going? I got the.
I mean, he could have made it to the end, or he could have maybe he did, and that's what sent us the wrong way. Brought the energy. It just messed up the mojo.
In his hotel
do you
room.
think that if all those fans weren't in? Is it Ball Arena?
Ball Arena.
Which is a great name, by the way, with those like mason jars or whatever, right?
They make every can.
Okay, canning goods.
And mason jars, yes.
Yeah. But do you think that if they weren't in Ball Arena, they would have been at Coors Field watching that Rockies game? Like, is that the reason there weren't many fans there?
I bet you the Rockies would tell you that.
Someone's making that excuse on Denver radio. That's a Rockies apologist somewhere along the way.
I'm not sure it works in that city quite as well as it might work in other cities, but yeah.
My dad pointed that out last night. He's like, wow, there's nobody at this game. And I said, yeah, there are. Look, there's all the Padre fans.
You could hear Padres fans chanting for Ha-Sung Kim. And
there wasn't a single camera angle last night that didn't have at least 3 Padre fans.
Right.
They were all over the place. Those are the only people that went to the game last night.
We appreciate their support.
Right.
Well, I'll just say this, that the night before, as you remember, I had to announce the longest game for the Sockers ever, and I spent like 2 hours in a suspended feeling of we are slowly having the life choked out of us, and the ending is going to be sad.
Yeah.
And then last night it was just like, hey, let's feel all of this again. As I was walking the dog and the Lakers were up 17 and then they got to like 13 and I was watching the Lakers broadcast and Stu Lance was all over it. And it was just like, right when they got to 13, he was like, this is a critical point in the game. Like, this is a critical point right now. Don't let them get closer because once they do, you are in it. And sure enough, 13 went to 7. And then, Norm Macdonald's like, oh, they're not Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald.
No, oh my God. His play-by-play man, whose name I'll remember very shortly.
Although if it was Norm Macdonald,
weren't they up by like 20 points?
They were up by 20 points. They were up by 15
points.
at the half. Quick start to the third quarter, up by 20.
And then they were just the Nuggets
way
were just
too much
creeping
time.
Back in. Denver.
They needed.
They were doubling
more baskets.
Were they doubling? They were doubling
Anthony Davis.
Yeah,
they were taking AD out of the game. AD had no baskets in the fourth quarter. He was, I think, almost perfect until then. He was like 15 of 16 or something ridiculous, and then he couldn't get a bucket. Couldn't even get a look in the fourth quarter.
Getting a buzzer beater like that. Jamal Murray. Yeah. Jamal Murray getting the buzzer beater, then getting just absolutely swarmed by your teammates.
Bill McDonald. My God. Not Norm Macdonald. Thank you, Callan. Bill McDonald.
Norm Macdonald.
Bill McDonald. I knew McDonald. He used to call soccer games back in the late 80s. Well, hey, listen, sometimes, old minds don't work as smoothly as yours.
Making the buzzer beater, getting swarmed by your teammates, the crowd going insane. What a moment. A moment you dream of in any sport.
Unless you're Anthony Davis.
Yeah, not him.
Being just like put in the most humiliating position possible of first conceding the basket and then getting just put into the crowd, like put into the bench.
Like he kind of like scooted away to the left when he realized, he just like tried to get away as fast as he could.
It was just like, you must stay there and endure your shame as everyone's like around him. He's just like stuck.
That's got to become a meme where they isolate that shot of him just trying to like move to the
Please
left.
let me out. Please let me out. Well, I'm glad you watched.
Well, it was fun. And, the Padres finished with the win of their own and then was able to switch channels and see what was going on in Denver with the basketball team. And so it was a fun little sports night.
Well, you and me did the same thing.
Yeah. And luckily the Padres were able to pull off that win. So you left that game feeling like, okay, wow. Dylan Cease, I'm sure we're going to talk about him.
Yeah.
Tremendous. Yeah. And good job seeing Tyler Wade, Jackson Merrill, Campusano, guys such as those bottom of the order getting it done. So there was a lot to like. And then there was a lot about that game that I was like, this feels like a September meaningless game for like the first 5 innings. And I don't know why that was. I think it was just maybe the crowd being so light and nothing was happening. There was no offense.
A lot of flyouts.
I was like, what's going on? This is Coors Field.
Damn, humidor.
Yeah,
you're not kidding, man.
That much? I don't think
it does. So. I think it affects it a lot.
The altitude is still there, though. What?
Yeah, but that's what they've done. They've soaked the ball in no-go juice and left it in the humidor, and then it doesn't go.
Take away from then though the impressiveness of Dylan Cease pitching in that altitude, right?
Right.
No, that doesn't take away from that.
Not at all.
Because that is very, very difficult. You never see that happen at Coors Field.
So Dylan Cease right now is kind of a freak in terms of what he's doing.
He is.
He's right now operating on a higher plane, and one that most pitchers don't get to enjoy at all, and then some don't get to enjoy for very long. But this is what Dylan Cease is doing to start this season. Right-handed hitters are 1 hit in 59 plate appearances.
He's got an 0.19 batting average allowed against right-handed hitters.
142 OPS. 142 OPS. 1 hit.
1 hit by a right-hander.
5 walks. And 22 strikeouts against 59 plate appearances. So he's striking him out over a third of the time and getting him out all the time.
And the 1 hit was in his first start for the Padres. No, that couldn't be right. Yeah, no, it was. It was because his first start was after Korea.
Yeah.
Against the Giants, Tom Murphy. I saw that in Kevin Acey's
Hung
newsletter.
Hung
a slider. That's right. That's right.
Well, he hasn't been hanging many sliders.
No.
And when I saw the Rockies lineup last night, Annie, I because this, like, it came in as, a little bit less than that. The right-handers all went out against him again yesterday. That when I looked at the lineup, I was like, oh my God, they're starting 6 righties against Dylan Cease. Like, Dylan Cease is going to eat. Right now, the way he's pitching, if you don't start 6 left-handed batters against Dylan Cease minimum, your team is going to get shut out. Yeah. Like, it's that because the righties get nothing. They get nothing. You get nothing and like it. 0-1-9. I mean, the lefties are hitting a robust 222.
Yeah. That's like not right.
But but still, 0-1-9. Nothing at all. So, roll that lineup out there again and let Michael King eat today. Because the way that the Rockies are not hitting, it was our guy, Blackman, with 1 double. And that was it for Dylan Cease.
He said after the game, Dylan Cease, that knock on wood, he knows it's not necessarily going to last with this whole right-handed hitters not getting anything against him. But what a showing for him, especially coming off of that last year where his numbers weren't that good, right? He talked about that last year with the White Sox and how it wasn't his best year and he felt like he was off and everything like that. To start the season the way that he has, to pitch in Coors Field and not allow more than 1 hit, no walks, No walks. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, usually you just get something errant at Coors Field. It's really arguably the hardest place to pitch. So I got to give him a tremendous amount of credit. It's not like he's done it once now. He's done it really throughout his starts with the Padres. I think minus maybe his first start he gave up. I need to look at the numbers again. He gave up maybe more runs, but no, he's been really, really good for the Padres. Michael King today, you hope that he'll be able to follow in those footsteps. But you also looked at that start from Dylan Cease yesterday and you thought to yourself, this can't go like Michael King's start went last week. They have to win this game. You can't have that dominant of a pitching performance and quote unquote waste it, right? And so luckily they were able to pull that off.
Well, you're not kidding. And, as Woodsy said this morning, you never want to, crap on a win or however you want to put it. Like, we're going to take all the wins. We're going to take them all and stack them up. But as always, and if you've listened to the show from the start, for me, process is over results. Like, that has to be the way you attack something when you're trying to improve, is you try and improve your process. The results will follow. But if you have a bad process, you can have some good results for a little while, but they're never going to last. So the Padres need to improve their process offensively. They are in a runners in scoring position rut right now. They're back to that kind of ugly, familiar feeling we had last year where they get a couple guys on and it's not happening. And I thought last night it was kind of a specific maybe of first day at Coors Field. Everyone gets that thought, just like you guys are saying, well, the ball's going to fly. Let's go, let it rip. And then whether it's the no-go juice or whether it's just, getting a little froggy on a pitch that's just outside your sweet spot, Padres were just flying it out to the outfielders over and over again last night.
Yeah, and Gomber wasn't one of those pitchers that you necessarily tip your cap to. I mean, he did a good job, but he's not like an elite pitcher in the league, and I felt like the Padres had some opportunities. They got a runner on in every inning, I think, except for the ninth. They had opportunities. They just weren't able to cash them in. And that is one where, again, you look at that and you go, okay, you made it happen in that inning where you had to, right? You were able to get that go-ahead run or runs to make it 3-1. But it makes you a little nervous for the future. But at the same time, I look at what you say and what Wood says, there's no bad wins in this household or whatnot. And it is true. Like, you win however you need to get it done. Not every night is going to be an offensive explosion. But you do want to have that process of being able to at least capitalize, especially when you get base runners on, maybe a little bit more throughout a game.
Well, we talked about it yesterday, right? Padres are going to have to win some of these games along the way to get to the playoffs. And last night they won one. So this was their second win this year where they scored 3. And, got on that 3 mark, but they held on. They had a 3-2 win over the Giants now, or maybe it was the Cardinals. Now they have a 3-1 win in Colorado, which is especially impressive, except that the Rockies stink. And that's another reason I got just a lot of, not pleasure, but like satisfaction from this game is they came in 5-17. They came in struggling. Offense came in really in the dumps. And how many times have we read this script and finished it with, and then Austin Gomber shut him out and somebody you never heard of hit 2 home runs.
Yeah.
And,
you felt like that's how it was going to go for this one for sure. And so credit to the Padres for making sure that wasn't the end result, right? You felt like there was a point watching it too, where it was like, okay, the Rockies are just going to go score like 6 in the next inning or something like that, and even the Rockies, they did a few things at the very end.
Yeah, first and third, 1 out.
There you go.
McMahon, guy who could beat you, guy who's beat us.
Yeah,
before.
They had Charlie Blackmon up at one point, and he, I think, moved a runner over or whatever. So, you did. I felt like, oh no, especially in the ninth, like, is someone going to hit a home run? They're going to walk it off, something like that. But credit to the Padres, credit to the bullpen again for the Padres as well, just doing yeoman's work out there, getting it done. But yeah, it was a good win for the Padres. And you know what? A well-fought game for the Rockies. The Rockies did their part in terms of staying in that game and doing what they could to make sure that they were competing.
Yeah, we all had that feeling. And then Robert Suarez locked it down, got a double play ball, kind of a wild turn on that ball. When it was hit to Kim, didn't you think he was going to run it straight to the bag?
Yeah.
And go for the 6-3.
Yes.
That was the clear path play. Then he flips it to Xander, and Xander has to make the craziest over the bag twisting
across
turn.
him. And
He made a great play. Honestly, that was a great play. I hope that's one of those little plays that makes Xander Bogaerts feel really comfortable about being a great second baseman.
Right. And getting it done in that moment, in a big moment, a crucial moment. And that's not a play that you necessarily are practicing a
Right.
lot.
No, you can't.
But yeah, instinctually, and his timing and everything was on track for that. Robert Suarez, I couldn't believe this. I was reading Kevin's newsletter this morning. 78 consecutive fastballs coming into that game, and then threw
They threw a
changeup. Yeah, 78 consecutive fastballs, and then threw, right? Was that what he threw?
Yeah. And
Okay.
the changeup was in the dirt. He wound up winning the game with a fastball.
Yes.
Again, just back to the fastball. Hey, I love what Robert Suarez is doing.
It's great to watch. It's great to watch. And Jesse was on this morning, and I get the argument. Like, he's not going out there for 5 innings. Throw your best stuff. You don't need to use a big old pitch mix if you don't have to. Like, throw your best stuff. Get him out. Attack him. And that's exactly what he's doing.
He has movement. Go ahead, Braden.
Good night for the Suarez brothers last night.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
His brother for the Orioles did a great job shoving against the Angels yesterday, too, as a starter.
Call.
Yes.
Good night for the Suarez brothers last night.
All Suarez, all night. Padres win. In our 11 a.m. Deep dive hour for the Padres, we're going to talk about this bullpen. Padres bullpen good now? Can we just label it as a big strength for this team now?
I label it as that.
I labeled that before the season started. This is like their biggest strength of the team, and then they got off to a slow start, and they're starting to really hit their stride now. You're finally seeing what the bullpen was expected to do this year. They had so many arms, and they're doing a great job right now, building off of some really good starts out of Cease and King, and every once in a while you and Joe. But obviously those guys are hurting right now a little bit more than the other two. But good pitching staff is going to win you games. And if the bullpen cannot be utilized too much at the beginning of the year and they can play like this, they're going to be in real good shape come September and October.
Game 1 to the Padres. Game 2 tonight. Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt at 4:40. Game 2 at 5:40. Michael King on the bump. Ryan Feltner, another kind of, here and there, location command, fastball, slider, curveball change. Can't strike you out, trying to get you to ground into a double play. The Rockies have a lot of these guys on their staff, and hopefully the Padres can lock in on that kind of obnoxious early 2000 Padres style of pitching. Everyone throws 91, but everyone's trying to beat you with a cutter and a curve. See how that pans out, and see if the Padres can go for 3 wins in a row, which would be 3 wins in a row, 3 losses in a row, 3 wins in a row, if they can get it today.
Whatever. Maybe they can continue on instead of going to the loss column.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice? I want 500 to be lava now. We're a game over.
Yeah.
So no more touching 500.
Right. You want to right. Or at least dipping below it. But yeah, ideally you'd stay above it.
Yeah. Get a win here, get a win there. Keep going. Nice week. Get yourself a little pad,
Yeah. Exactly.
And then we can sit in that pad for a little while. I don't mind that. Takes 2 5-game winning streaks, and you can be 500 the rest of the year and finish 86 and 76.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Maybe this is game 3 of a 5-game winning streak.
You get off to a good start there in Colorado, and then you want to keep it rolling. You've got another good pitcher coming out there. Again, you can't expect what Dylan Cease did for every pitcher that's rolled out there in Colorado, but for the offense, I think, make sure you're doing your part and try to capitalize here against a Rockies team that, again, you don't want to overlook any team. They're all obviously in the big leagues for a reason. Any given team can get hot at any time, but this is a somewhat decimated Rockies team. So you do want to take advantage if you can.
We'll set up the rest of the show when we come back here on Annie and Elsten. And also in the next segment, are the Padres starting to make a couple people on the national level believe in their talent on the roster and maybe ability to go forward? We'll address that. I mean, we got to play the sound. We got to play the sound, Annie.
From MLB Network?
No. We'll play that too. From the big voice guy.
Oh, yeah. No, we could do without that, I think. Like that was a morning show thing.
I don't know where it is anyway.
Yeah.
So. What do you mean you don't know where it is, Braden? You know where it is.
Where is it?
It's where Paul put it.
It's only funny once,
It's
I
where
feel like.
It's where Paul put it.
It's where Paul put it.
Let me go into
and
Paul's
we've got to talk
mind
about
for a
Dylan
second.
Cease again at least in our Padres.
Sure, of course. Of course. I mean, absolutely. A lot of people weren't listening right at 8 a.m. this morning.
I feel like it's just funny once. It's one of those it's only funny once things.
Was it even funny the first time
really
for you?
Wasn't. My thing is
So maybe
like everyone just kind of get my last name out of your mouth. I don't want to hear anyone say
Get
it.
my name out of your mouth.
Wow. Wow, big voice guy.
I
And a
don't wanna
homeboy
hear
over
it
here wants to
anymore.
play that. Here we go.
Oh,
I don't want to
man.
hear any of you say it, to be honest.
Okay, fine.
Shut your ass down.
Oh, we got a lot coming up. Stay right there. Annie and Elsten here with you on the Fan. 10:26 on the Fan. Welcome back. It is Annie and Elsten here with you. Annie, Craig Elsten, and Braden Soprenet. Just going to stick with one name from now on.
Smart choice.
It's just
Smart
Annie.
choice. Just Annie.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know how to say Annie Halloran. I've said it
You can say
5,000 times.
At least he doesn't call you Brandon.
I mean, listen,
That's happened at least.
you've got a
6
weird
times.
name.
It's not that. It's not weird anymore. There's so many people that have that name now. It's popular now.
Oh,
But they all spell it wrong. So
yeah.
they all spell it wrong. Even the kids. Usually if I'm doing
They give you a
game,
Y, don't they?
sometimes I've seen Y's. I've seen E's. BRAED.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I could feel it.
I've seen some of those. I mean, a
Little,
lot of these.
little Germanic.
A lot of these kids now that spell their name Braden, they spell it wrong.
Well,
and I
they
tell them that
add-
their parents spelled it wrong in their birth
Right.
certificate.
They add in all kinds of E's and Y's and A's where they're
Yeah.
A
not
bunch of vowels that
necessary
you don't need.
to
silent
to
H's.
just right make it the hardest thing.
Well, we are all here together. People always misspell my name.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Craig.
All the time. No.
Craig?
Well, Craig, too. I mean, yes, that happens all the time. Greg, Krog, Craig,
You
CREG.
get the typos of
Yeah. But
CRIAG.
Elston,
Craig.
I accept it. I get Elston all the time.
Mm.
And I am also converted quite often to Elstein.
Oh wow.
People will be like, oh, Elstein.
Uh-huh.
Like, nope,
No.
Elston.
Your name seems like it would be the simplest of our threes. To
I
get
agree.
right.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I win on that very limited field.
Beans blowfish. Do they spell crag?
Yes, I get some
wow.
crag. Yeah.
I've seen CRIAG.
Yeah.
Typos, CRIAG, when they're trying to type fast, CRIAG.
Now, if your name was like CRAYG, you'd be like the kids these days. Like
Yes.
Craig.
Yes, you would.
Or maybe like an
Precisely.
E at the end, just for fun.
That's Gen Z, Craig.
If I
Right.
was Gen Z, I would be, CRAYGE.
E. Well, I don't either. Yep. And
I know-
someone would be like, "Is it Craigie?" And there you'd be like, "Nope,
No,
just
of
Craig."
course not.
now
The
you
E is
feel
there for no point.
And how dare you?
now you feel my pain being an ex Starbucks barista when we used to have to write names.
They do it on purpose.
No, they don't.
You don't think so?
No, I worked it for 2 years. There's a lot of times where I'd be like, all right, well, the guy's name's Frank. And it's like, oh, you spelled my name wrong. And I look at it. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I have an H and I have all these consonants. And you're like, okay, all right.
I sometimes see it's like Frank, and the barista will hand it back, and it's like FRANQUEE. Like they just want to like make it.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Well, that's usually most of the time as I defend my fellow baristas.
Yeah,
That's usually they didn't hear you because you do the Frank. This old mumble of your name. Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, sure, I'm gonna go with whatever I heard because it's not worth the barista's time
no.
to haggle with you over how to spell
Especially
your
in a
name.
rush. I used to like
Right.
not ask for names and people get, like my boss get mad at me and I'd be like, I know what drink is whose. It's whatever. And they're not gonna tell me.
I get fake names all the time.
Do you
just
really?
for fun. Like when I went through my Euphoria stage,
Okay.
from HBO, or Max or whatever it is, I would just
HBO,
go
yeah.
through the characters. Like I was Jules or Rue, or I forget now the other ones, but I would just change it every time.
My buddy
Yeah.
does
Amazing.
that to piss us off. He'll say like he'll put like order in for us or something like that, but he'll call us. He'll put the name in for the name of the mascot of the college we went to. So my buddy who goes to Washington State, they'll be like, "Oh, order for Butch," and this kid walks up and they're like, "There's no way that guy's name is Butch."
I never watched Euphoria.
Oh,
That's one of you got me on that one. That's one I
I'm
never
actually
watched.
surprised by that.
it goes off a cliff every once in a while, and the I'm sure you've read about that
Yeah.
director or whoever is
Yeah,
like he's a
yeah.
little off the cuff or whatever, but it's so good. I think it's so good. Like it's dark, it's
Yeah.
twisted, but it's really good. It's a good look at addiction too. Like it's just a good look at kind of like what that whole world is like, and a little gratuitous in some points. He goes for the dramatics, but it's still it's a good series. Not coming back too.
I know.
Yeah.
Done. Well, let's throw a little sports into this segment, and then we'll give it a twist and send it off. Write a name on the side of the cup,
Talk about more names.
and we'll send
talk
it off.
about-
I saw you put this in the rundown a couple yesterday. I think it was Monday morning, or was it Sunday?
I think it was Monday morning.
Monday morning, yeah.
Yesterday morning, yeah.
So MLB Network, they got to fill time,
Right.
and they did one of these, this or that segments. We'll do one of them in about an hour.
Believe or make believe.
Right. So believe or make believe, Padres will make the postseason in 2024. Let's see. Who do we have here? We've got Mike Lowell, the old Red Sox and Marlins third baseman. And it looks like Dan Dowd, who led the Rockies to great acclaim.
I'm surprised
Dowd.
with the way that they're structuring their segments now. They don't have like little like Tinkerbells like jumping in on this, like believe or make believe. And,
Right.
Yeah. But okay. Yeah. Let's roll with this.
And is that Flo?
Yeah,
Floyd?
Roflo as the host.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
Hold for bumper.
Believe or make believe, the Padres will reach the postseason. Mike?
I believe on that one. Yes. For some weird reason, you take out Juan Soto and Hader and you're better. I just think collectively they felt like they could just show up at the ballpark and their star power is going to be better than everyone last year.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work that way. So I think that mindset has changed and there's just way too much talent in that roster.
Yeah, I agree completely with Mike. I actually picked them to get into postseason. Two things stand out for me. They're one-run losses last year are always an aberration. It never is year to year. Their extra inning losses from a year ago were bizarre. They've turned so far. They look like they turned both guys around. And I agree with Mike. It's a different culture this year. The energy level's different. I think the parts fit together better. Not a perfect team in any way, shape, or form, but I think it's a really good team. And I think Tatis has a chance to challenge for an MVP.
What's up with the haunted mansion?
Thank you. Thank you.
I think that was like their ominous believe or make believe. Like they were going that direction. Haunted Mansion. I went Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
All right.
I was like, am I in a
Move to
Tim
the
Burton
dead
movie?
center of the room.
Yeah, where's the Nightmare Before Christmas guy
Right.
romping past?
If they're gonna go that route, they should have had that like either like a one of those seance balls on the table. Or
Yeah,
something,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, go with the bit, guys.
Watch out for the hitchhiking ghost
Yes.
way out.
I felt like this is nothing that we haven't said or heard, and I felt like this is the national media seeing that this team is gonna have potential and be good and possibly make the postseason, and now having to go back on dismissing them before the season started.
Yes. Right.
Like they're walking it back a little bit.
Just a
Because
little bit.
before the season started, I think it was more like, well, they're coming off this terrible year. And they're right, but at this point, I think it's funny that they're like, well, last year's an aberration and there's too much talent. You lost Juan Soto, but you don't need him. Where before the season started, they're like, losing Juan Soto is the worst thing that could ever happen to a team.
I'm glad that they're just like their sport, where they're just behind the times on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just way behind the local media that we've been covering this team for a long time and saying the exact same thing. And just like Major League Baseball, just way behind on everything else.
And also coming up with the takes that we had in August of last year.
Right.
one-run games and extra inning
Extra
losses
innings.
and how bedeviled they were. And the thing is we try to remind everyone, it's like saying, oh, well, you came up tails on 10 straight coin flips, so you're definitely going to come up heads
Right.
on 4 of the next 5. Like, no, it's 50-50 every time. So one-run wins are just up for grabs this year the way they were last year. There's no guaranteed 10 one-run wins coming for the Padres. But you know what? Last night, they won one of those close games.
Mhm.
It wasn't one run, but it was tying run at first, winning run at the plate, opportunity to have a disappointing, crushing loss. We took a lot of those last year. And last night, Padres got that dub.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good to see, look, get some recognition, get some appreciation for what you guys are doing. A lot of that always goes to the Dodgers or the Yankees or teams like that. So good to see them doing that, putting the Padres in a good light. And the Padres did get that one, were able to come ahead in that 1-run game, broke that tie. And again, bottom of the order, you had good, Luis Campusano started the season off hot, went into a little bit of a slump, then got hot again recently. So you like what you're seeing in terms of the bottom of the order being able to come through. Tyler Wade, look,
Hey,
the guy's experienced. That's the thing. He knows how to play smart baseball. And I do think that's a separator for him.
it got the job done yesterday. That's for sure. I think it's one of the things we'll talk about in the deep dive hour. Like, what are we doing at third base? Just like today, right now. What are we doing at third base?
Now, let me ask you this. So the Padres, right. And who,
Hoping for the best.
right. Well, and what are you doing with Graham Pauley? Now, what does this third base thing
Exactly.
look like? Right.
Exactly.
But let's see, 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position last night for the Padres, left on base 9. So again,
Well, 3 for 10, 2 of those were at the very end.
exactly.
So
Exactly. Like they had more opportunities than that, but sometimes this is how it be. You do enough, you get the win.
Yeah.
And you just want to make sure that you're doing enough in other situations if the team's putting up more runs, obviously.
here's how I'll put it. And then we'll take a break. Last year, the Padres could only win a couple different kind of shaped games. A game where they took the lead early or a game where they blew out the opponent. Those were kind of like the two ways that the Padres won last year. But games like this, they never won.
Yeah.
Games like this where they took a 1-0 lead and then it's 1-1 and then their offense kicks rocks for 6 innings and doesn't do anything. Those were always the games that they succumbed.
Yeah.
And gave up a run and went, oh, well, it's not our night. And then at the end of it, you're looking at it going, oh, geez, how did we blow that game? We were facing this bad pitcher. We got an incredible start from Dylan Cease, and then no one will remember it because the next thing the middle reliever gave up a homer to Ryan McMahon and we lost, and that didn't happen last night. Cease knuckled down. The team stayed with him and then rewarded him and got him a win. I think that matters in a very small way, but psychologically, I think that matters.
It does. And I think coming off of what happened with Michael King last week and answering those questions about wasting that start, it psychologically helps to go out and win this kind of game at Coors Field, because you're able to go, okay, well, yeah, that was a mistake, but we were able to turn it around. We were able to learn from our mistake. Won't let it happen again. And like when you look at teams that are good and teams that are great, or like the little separators, the more I cover the sport, I really believe that last 10% or obviously more because this game is so mental, but that separator is just believing that you're the team that gets it done. It's just that, or getting into that self-fulfilling prophecy last year where you're not the team that gets it done. And you do sit there and go, here we go again. Or, I don't know what this guy's doing, or I don't feel, there's like that little percentage or whatever that is just, we did it. We're going to do it again. We believe we're the team that's going to do it versus we never get it done. What's the matter with us? Why can't we ever do it?
You're listening to Annie and Elsten, Padres Deep Dive Hour coming up at 11, and we're going to get even deeper into that bullpen because getting deep into the bullpen hasn't been a problem of late for the San Diego Padres. It's been great news pretty much every time that gate has swung open. Let's take a quick time out right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10:45 on the Fan. Welcome back. Annie and Elsten here with you till 2 o'clock. Talking some Padres baseball. Padres, the big 3-1 win over Colorado yesterday. Hey,
you look like you got hit by a hammer on top of your head and pushed you down to the ground.
what happened?
Like a cartoon.
I wasn't looking at the screen.
Instead of whack-a-mole, it's Papa Craig.
Pop back up.
Papa Craig coming to your local Boomers. This is Craig's head popping up.
Right. Just hello. Oh, I imagine the people who would love to hold that mallet.
Disgruntled soccer.
Mitzi's just
people.
first in line.
That's
How many
right.
times could I hold this mallet? Bop,
Actually,
bop, bop.
What a fun game for the Elsten family to play at your household. Papa Craig. His
Papa
head
Craig
pops up.
Pop. That is Pop dash Craig, not Papa Craig, which is
That's like Papa Smurf.
which
That's when
literally
you're
no one
older.
has ever called me that
Papa Craig. That's pretty
until
funny.
today.
Braden gave
That's
you
your
that
new rapper
nickname.
name.
Right, Papa Craig.
Of course, no one had ever called you Annie Halila.
Right. Well, they might have, but I just didn't
A
get to
parallelogram?
hear it over and over and over again.
Right.
When
So-
Ben reads raps, he's got to take Craig on. He'll take on Papa Craig.
Did Adam give you the sound?
I mean, I have
Braden?
it. It's up to Annie if we want to play it. I mean, I'm not
I mean, just one time for the kids.
for the kids.
It's fun for
Just
the
play
The
it,
kids.
kids are at
Braden.
school. What are you talking about for the kids?
For the delinquent
the
kids.
kids are
They deserve a treat.
the kids that skip class that
They
are
have-
listening to this
Listen,
radio
they're
program.
given a hard time by their parents all the time for skipping school. Let's give them something
Let's
nice.
give them something to be cheery about.
Let's give them some
I
fun.
didn't know that was our target audience.
For
here.
all the delivery folks right now, this is specifically for you. Enjoy.
Did you just call delivery folks delinquent children?
No,
That's
I'm adding to the
wow,
groups.
that's-
I'm adding to the
wow.
groups inside the
Shots
Venn
fired.
diagram.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, some, but
What?
but there's always.
What do you? All right, I'm going to say this
Just
just
play
to kill
the-
the awkwardness.
No, just
That's
play the clip.
super weird.
Play the clip.
Alongside Stephen Woods, Craig Elsten, Chris Hello, and Sam Levitt, here's your host, Annie Heilbrin. Heilbrin. Yeah, what am I saying? God, Jesus. Heilbrin. How you doing? Here's your host, Annie Heilbrin. Heilbrin. Here's your host, Annie Heilbrin. Here's your host, Annie
I can't get Andy right.
Annie Heilbrin. Sorry.
You know,
Gotta start over. I'll do it one more time.
Yeah, one more.
Here's your host,
From the top.
Annie Heilbrin. Heilbrin. Here's your host, Annie Heilbrin. Brun. Annie Heilbrin.
I can't believe it's
Me,
long.
Jesus.
I know.
Here's your host, Annie Heilbrin. 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 That might be it. It's that time, Prior Faithful.
That
Time
would
to
be it.
discuss everything going on with the Padres. We've gathered the entire 97.3 The Fan crew together to bring you the most in-depth discussion on the Friars in our weekly Padres Roundtable, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. Alongside Stephen Woods, Craig Elsten, Chris Ello, and Sam Levitt, here's your host, Annie Heilbrin. Jesus. Here's your host.
Okay,
What
we
the
have.
hell? I got to truck back it
Oh,
up.
are we still
Here's
going?
your host, Annie Heilbrin. Here's your host, Annie Heilbrin.
He got it. He got it.
Here's your host, Annie Heilbrin.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
2 minutes.
We
You just
have
put that
all
guy in
done
a box for 2
voiceover
minutes.
work in this room, and we have all been in the torture chamber like that,
It has
where
been.
there has been a name that
Mhm.
but he oversold. Let's be real. He was committed to a there because,
That's a good
sir,
bit.
if you are a professional, which I know you are, this was not that hard.
Mm-mm.
All right, and I don't want to hear you say my name again.
Level 2. Like it's not
Well,
even. It's not even a level
unfortunately,
3
in about
name.
10
It's a level
minutes, you're
2.
going to have to hear him
That's
say
right.
your name in our
Well, I
open.
don't want to redo. Like,
No, that was
yeah.
good. That was
He
perfect
says,
right there.
He says to
Perfect
print
right
it
there.
just fine. Just saying.
Well,
mhm.
I know. And you've got the weird R.
That's
Yeah.
right. People forget the first R when they try to spell it.
Listen,
Some of us-
sometimes you just
know
get
what it is?
stuck.
Annie, when I sent that in he didn't have any problems. So whatever Paul sent in pronunciation guide, he
Paul
screwed it
said he
up.
sent in the pronunciation.
He probably said in a wrong one. I didn't have that issue, Annie. When I sent in all the voiceover work, we had no issues. Maybe they did that on purpose.
It's not that hard, man.
Well, when you're
It's not.
professional such as myself and a, you know,
Johnny, your host, Annie H.
Sometimes other people can't rise to the caliber. That's how it is.
Some people can't rise to the occasion, Annie. I
That's
agree
true.
with you. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
completely true.
guy couldn't
So-
handle the moment.
Can't meet
That's
the
right.
moment. That's what we say in
You
sports
can't meet the
sometimes.
moment. This
Yeah.
sounds like
Can't meet the moment.
your own, what is that word? Like your own
Private
inability.
Idaho?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, your own right. Exactly. Like if we're on like,
He's not the Jackson Merrill of voiceover guys.
No.
Not in
Latent
the
clutch.
He couldn't handle it. You put that your last name, Annie. Put that guy in a box for 2 straight minutes.
Pretty remarkable, actually.
Mm.
I'm trying to, well, we had the thing in indoor this year with a guy named Mijatovic who changed his name to Mijatovic.
Mm.
And they just hit it in the notes. And then somebody sent an email to the league like, Craig's mispronouncing the name. He keeps saying Mijatovic. It's Mijatovic. And I only got that right because the dude jumped onto our bench. And so then I had to say his name 20 times on a podcast.
Oh, wow.
Mijatovic. But sometimes you get stuck, or something gets caught in your head. Like it just get,
You assume it's something else.
it just gets caught in your head just a little bit. But with that,
Now
no one should have gotten that wrong.
Now I forget how to pronounce
No,
Annie's
this
name.
was a commitment to the bit.
I think so too.
Mhm.
I
But
think
don't
so,
worry,
too.
I have a long memory. And so my commitment to the bit will also remain.
I appreciate that deeply.
Mm.
Voiceover guy. Who's got it better than voiceover guy?
He does a great job, except for
does.
that.
He's
Mhm.
he's terrific.
Yeah, he does a
And
great job.
we're one of, who knows how many stations.
He does all the
Oh, I'm
Odyssey
sure.
stations.
Yeah. Actually, you probably don't want to piss off voiceover guy now that I think about it.
Fair.
Yeah, he does.
Fair.
Maybe I did. Maybe there's something that happened that I don't know about.
I mean, that was good. It's positive for you. You are made more endearing by that clip. And he looks like an idiot. That's how that works. You look good at the end of it. He looks terrible.
No,
So,
that's how it goes sometimes. And you got to practice your craft more, possibly.
Potentially.
Maybe focus
Yeah.
in a little bit more.
I need the Annie post-game press conference of the
Mhm.
of the performance of the player that is the
Yeah.
voiceover guy.
of the 32 stations you cut VO for yesterday, treat all 32 like it's your only station.
Or simply, well, his thing is he just ran with it the whole time. I feel like, why don't you just stop it, start a new track,
Right.
start
right.
over, get it right.
Right.
This was he was
Yeah, he
having fun
didn't
with it.
have to
He was
spend all
having
2
fun
minutes.
at
Right.
my expense. That's fine.
Right.
That's fine.
I mean, he didn't know that we would play it, did he?
Annie just taking notes over there. Just note it.
Yeah,
Just,
exactly.
better not see me around, buddy.
But the thing is who
Not
knows
your
who he
buddy,
is?
guy.
Right. How would
He's
you
a
know?
voiceover guy.
How would you know?
He gets to be completely anonymous.
It's gonna be like Peter Griffin and the chicken with Annie and the voiceover guy.
He probably only wheels that voice out when there's a mic.
You know
Other
what
times like,
I think
hello,
might
I'd
be,
like to
He talks
order.
totally
I'd like to order a
don't
latte.
you only do that when you can't get someone out of your head? You know what I mean?
Oh.
Oh,
Mm.
oh. Maybe I've
He's in
Mhm.
Boston.
Taking
Adam
up
said.
space, permanent
that's right.
rental.
Maybe I'm living rent free in your mind.
That's right.
Voiceover
That's
guy.
why I said you put him in a box.
That's right. So.
Next time she's gonna make a trip to Boston, go kick this guy's ass.
Oh, he's the guy in Boston.
Some WEI guy, I guess.
When do the Padres play at Fenway next?
It's at the end of June.
Let's arrange the trip.
I think you know
I've
what?
always
Works
wanted to
out.
visit Fenway. Can we make a show trip? Maybe we can visit the big.
Oh, that'd
I
Maybe
think
he
we
can
should do a
host us
live
for
remote
dinner.
from the Green
Maybe
Monster.
he can host
That
us
would
for
be
dinner.
great.
A big apology
That would
thing,
be great.
Yeah, right.
and Craig and I get a free trip to Boston out of it
I'm
at
okay.
Annie's expense.
No, it's all in good fun. Everything is cool. I'm cool. But get it right. Get it right. That's all I ask.
Oh, we could have him call in, hold his feet to the fire.
No, I
Wow.
Call him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because I'm already over it.
Southwest flights,
That's what it is.
$88.
Hey,
How about
Okay.
it? Hey, now we're talking. Hey,
Nothing
like being on a Southwest flight for 8 hours, but 6.5, whatever
Yeah.
long it is. That's a long flight.
just last
No,
night.
I would not Southwest to yeah.
No,
if
if I'm
I'm
flying to
going at my own
Boston,
expense of
yes.
someone doing this, you're flying me first class, buddy.
Oh, fair.
And it's not on
Fair.
Southwest.
We're not,
Wow.
we're not sacrificing more for you.
You're not
Right.
making sure to log in 24 hours early to
No.
get Group B so that you don't get stuck in the middle seat.
She's paying for the early bird automatic check-in.
How clutch is it though when you come in with like the A31 or something like that? You know what I mean? Like you get on there and you're like,
You know what's clutch about? You know what's
827.
clutch about that? That means you're the last guy on the plane at 8:31, and there's nobody else on the plane.
no, right. Well, but
You're never getting an A unless you pay for it at this point.
So hey, listen,
Or it's not a full flight.
you can do it. I'm telling you, there's an art to getting that like mid A, and I know this because Paul Savage, the great Paul Savage, who runs all the travel for the Sockers, he'll get it. He'll get it for like he'll have a timer on his phone to get there exactly 24 hours early, which is when it's opened up to the public, like to be one of those first 10-second people and get that spot. Not to say, but you should go first class. I
call BS on that.
I'm telling you,
Especially if you're flying from the West
I've
Coast.
had to actually do that for the Padres broadcast before, and I would be on the sideline and I would be punching, trying to get on because I would have to make it to the next city in time,
right?
which
The struggle is real.
and yeah.
Back to Padres baseball when we come back. Deep dive hour next on the Fan. Back with you for hour number 2. It is 11 a.m. in San Diego, and this is Annie and Elsten. Back with you, your new midday hang on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. With Annie and Braden, I'm Craig, and we're here with you on this multimedia sports operation. We are live on 97.3 The Fan FM radio. We are also on the Odyssey app, streaming on your phone wherever you are live. We're a podcast, so if you're listening to us in the future, greetings from the past. It's nice back here. It was just a little bit better. It's okay now, though, where you are. It's fine. And we're a TV show. We're live on YouTube every single day, 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. Find out what T-shirt I'm wearing or sweatshirt every single day.
Every day.
All you got to do is go to the 97.3 The Fan webpage, and then you'll find the show. Click subscribe. And if you are one of the hardy folks who are there, and we've got a great audience once again assembled, go ahead and smash that like button, please. Do us that favor. Hit like, grow the algorithm, allow more San Diego fans to randomly run into our product, and then we will slowly bring them in and make them our own. And we thank you.
Insert evil laugh here.
It's working perfectly.
According to plan. Like a terrible Disney villain.
Right? It's always like Act 2 in the Star Wars movie. Yeah. The guy's staring there in the olive drab. Our plan is working perfectly.
Easy, Johnny Ringo. That's from Tombstone, though.
Fair. Yes, different genre. Come on.
It's a great movie, though.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
No, it's really good,
No,
but it wasn't.
It's fine.
It wasn't within the genre. So.
I don't. So we're crossing streams.
Hey. All right.
Hey.
Genres.
So 11 a.m. hour. This is where we like to kind of get in deep on Padres baseball. Padres won yesterday. They've won 2 in a row. They're back over 500 at 13-12. Extremely encouraging to win a game at Coors Field that you score 3 runs. That is not going to happen all the time. It did happen now. It may well happen again this week against Colorado. The Rockies right now are just really not hitting the ball. They're not really creating a lot of offense with their lineup, and I don't want to say anything more and anger the baseball gods, just to say that it's not going well for them at the moment. So Michael King will take the ball to try and keep the momentum rolling. Ryan Feltner is another 92-mile-an-hour guy who wants to sink and cut the ball and slide it and slurve it and curve it. And
slide it, slurve it, curve it.
He's got to do something because
it feels like a dance
because he can't push it past people. So it's going to be another one of those dances. Can the Padres stay within themselves? Can the Padres command the zone, force the guy to come to them, take care of business? Let's hope that is the case today at 5:40 pregame, 4:40 p.m. Thought we'd talk a little bit about the bullpen here to start off the 11 a.m. hour, just because it was maybe 3-4 weeks ago that there were definitely spots that we were looking at and going, I don't know. Stephen Kolek got off to a rough start. Avila got off to a rough start. He's not here anymore.
Burrito
got off to a very rough start. And there was a big question, like who's the second right-handed pitcher outside of Robert Suarez? Who's the second guy that we can count on in the Padres bullpen? Well, that's been answered. Enyel De Los Santos came in last night in a tough spot, right? 3-1, coming in, facing a good part of the Rockies lineup, if there is such a thing. And he went punch out, punch out, punch out. I think he gave up 1 hit in between, but 3 strikeouts for De Los Santos, giving the ball, moving it over, bridging to Suarez. Suarez gives up a double that Toddy thought he was going to catch. Gives up a hard hit single to Tovar to put runners at the corners. He's got McMahon at the plate. He had to get through the very top of the Rockies lineup, and he got through it and got the job done. And it's becoming more and more of a confidence building thing when Mike Schilt goes to the bullpen, Annie, that he's going to get a good result out of there.
I think this is also why when I know how it drives fans crazy when a manager continues to back his guy and put him in these situations. But literally that's why sometimes you have to work through it. And a bullpen is finicky as it is. It's always going to be a little bit temperamental. It's going to be up and down. And so for Mike Schilt to get, and Ruben Niebla, to get these pitchers and Ben Fritz, bullpen coach, to get all these guys that are new to your team, really the bulk of this bullpen besides Robert Suarez, Tom Cosgrove, you've got guys that are new. You've got De Los Santos, you've got Wandy Peralta, you've got Burrito, Yuki Matsui. You don't know that much about them yet. You have to keep putting them in situations and allowing them a chance to work out of it, and also allowing them a chance to settle in and show you what they have and get used to their roles or place inside of a bullpen or working with these coaches. So I think that's why, as maddening as I think it can be sometimes for fans, there is a method to that madness, and they've got to work through that. But I mean, I remember we talked before the season started, and like Braden said, we talked about how the strength was really this bullpen. We looked at it, we're like, well, they don't really need to address that area, especially after the Peralta signing. You felt like that area was pretty much set, right? You can worry about other areas. Then the season started and you realized a lot of these guys were mysteries. You didn't know what they were really bringing to the table. Not a lot of experience watching them, or for Matsui, not a lot of, obviously no experience in the States, things like that. And now they've settled in. So I think it's really just a reminder that sometimes we just got to kind of let this take its course a little bit. And there's still going to be ups and downs, Craig, in this bullpen. There's going to be injuries along the way, but a really good sign that they've been able to make this work, and really well. I mean, now the bullpen comes out and I always think to myself, well, that's it. Game over. Instead of game over the other way, it's like, sorry, the offense for the other team, it's like, that they're really not going to get much going. Also, Craig, they have been very efficient. They don't take a lot of pitches, and that has allowed for them to be used the following day because they're not laboring through these outings much.
Let me back you up on that. Johnny Brito, 12 innings, 3 walks. Wandy Peralta, 11 innings, 2 walks. Stephen Kolek, 11 innings, 4 walks. Robert Suarez, 10 2/3 innings, 4 walks. Los Santos, 9 1/3 innings, 2 walks. I mean, that's outstanding. Basically, every guy in the bullpen is throwing strikes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Matsui has walked 5. He's like one of the highest walk rates. And it's not terrible, right? He's given up 8 hits and 5 walks in 11 innings. He's been really, really good. His whip is 1.1. So every one of these guys, one way or another, has succeeded. The thing that I think is interesting to me, and I'm honestly, I'm not picking on him. I'm sure he's going to do well with the Twins, but I think removing Pedro Avila from the bullpen mix made for easier decisions for Mike Shildt. Like, he didn't know what to do with Johnny Brito at the beginning of the year. He was a power arm. He's in your pen, but I got Avila to do those mop up long inning relief type appearances. So let's make him an 8th inning reliever now. And that just didn't work. And now it's like, no, it's De Los Santos. Before, De Los Santos was drifting. Like, he might pitch in the 5th, he might pitch in the 7th. Now he's pretty much locked in. It's going to be him, Wandy, and Suarez at the end, one way or another. It might be Wandy in the 7th and De Los Santos in the 8th. It might go the other way. It's going to be matchup based along the way. But I feel like those guys, and then you've got Matsui, who can come in with kind of the trick pitch, the splitter, that can really befuddle somebody, get a big swing and miss with runners on base. All of a sudden now it goes from guys, and like you said really well, any mysteries, to defined. Like, okay, I know how to use this tool now in my tool bag.
Yeah, and you're always going to probably need at least one guy that's going to be your mop-up guy when the score is they're in the Padres' favor. They've blown it out so much that you don't want to use any of your good arms because you're going to need them for another game, or they're so behind, the other team is winning, so by so much, such a wide margin, that you don't want to go to any of these guys because it's just not worth it at this point. So is Gillespie still in this bullpen?
No, he got farmed out for Vasquez.
Oh, that's right. Okay, Vasquez is up. That's right. So there, I think, so you're looking at really Brito as your long man, I guess. Like, who's your long man? Okay.
And Morejon. They brought back Morejon.
That's right.
And he can do it a little bit too.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good. You always want a guy like that. And I think, like, a little bit the jury's still out. So we saw De Los Santos yesterday at Coors, and we saw Robert Suarez. It will be a little bit interesting to watch some of these pitchers, some of this bullpen go out there when they're needed over these next 3 games and see how they do. But overall, I think you can't look at this bullpen and not think that they've made significant improvements, and also that they've shown that they can get the job done.
Mike Shildt has a lot of confidence in Wandy Peralta against right-handed batters. And until the one that he gave up in the series prior, he hadn't given up a hit to a right-handed batter. in any of his appearances. Now that's going to change. That's a little bit aberrational for a lefty reliever, but it's good that you have a couple lefties that you trust in Matsui and Peralta both ways.
Yeah.
Cosgrove is kind of your attack lefty,
Right.
To attack platoon splits. But I think in both the case of Matsui and Peralta, you've got guys who can face anybody.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And are dominant. Like you said, they're strike throwers. They attack. They go right at the hitter. And that's been really good, not only for them to continue pitching and be efficient, but also just to insert dominance there, to insert aggression and say, we're coming in. Starter did their job. We're not going to, relinquish the lead here. Or we're going to absolutely try our best not to relinquish the lead. Right. But I think a lot of this too has to go back to the starting pitcher doing his job. I mean, you get the 7 innings out of Dylan Cease, you get the 7 innings out of Michael King or Joe Musgrove or whoever, even 6 innings. But those ones where you get to the 7th and you are able to, especially in a place like Colorado, where pitching is going to be very needed throughout these 4 games, you're able to keep most of these guys sitting on the bench in the bullpen. That is huge. I mean, that is a really big deal. So a big credit to Dylan Cease to be able to do that. Maybe Michael King will be able to do that again today. And then when you get into maybe 2 starters who you're not exactly sure how their stuff's going to play at Coors Field, you're able to use the bullpen a little bit more when you need to. So inside of a 13-game stretch, for it to have gone as well as it did yesterday with the bullpen usage, I think puts them in a real good spot.
It's going to be interesting going forward in this series because it's not like the Rockies had a bunch of left-handed batters that they were hiding on the bench yesterday with Dylan Cease in the game, knowing that he came in 1 for the world against righties. They're going to start 6 righties every game in this series, at least. And they're not really going to have a ton of optionality along the way for that. So as such, we're not going to see as much of Morahone and Peralta and Matsui and Cosgrove in this series as you normally would. Although, as we said, 2 of those guys can kind of go either way, which brings me back to Stephen Kolek, who right now is the 3rd righty up in the bullpen beyond Suarez and De Los Santos. In the month of April, so far, 8 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 1 run, a solo homer, walk 3, strikeout 11, ERA of 1.08. If you're going to pitch like that, we're going to trust the ball.
Right. You take that every time. And good for him. I mean, look, Rule 5 guy who not a lot was expected of him. And he talked last week, I think it was in the Union Tribune, he talked about how he was appreciative of the fact that he wasn't just being used in mop-up situations. He was being used in high leverage situations. And sometimes it looked like that brings out the best in you, right? And you see the other guys around you. It's a whole pass the baton thing in the bullpen. You don't want to be the weakest link. So he's done a really good job too, showing that his stuff can play.
Yeah. So it's exciting. Overall, this group has been number 1 for the last couple of weeks. And I do think for a playoff team, for a team that's going to compete and then go into the playoffs and try to win, I do think a mid-season power arm acquisition in the bullpen is still in the making because you love what these guys are doing. And you understand that when you ride the same bullpen guys all year, come August and September, you're counting on them to have a level of physical stamina that's really above and beyond in order to hold their stuff from April to September.
Yes. And then the other thought that comes into my mind is this is not going to be the same bullpen. It's just so rare, right? And if it is, I give them all the credit in the world if they make it through without injuries or without any kind of big drop-offs in usage. Because like I said, bullpens are finicky and guys' arms can fatigue pretty quickly. Again, a really good sign that they're not being overly used right now. You want to keep that going as long as you can, but there will become a stretch, most likely, where they are used a lot more or they have to go to the bullpen earlier, things like that. And so when you get to that postseason, where are those arms? That's always going to be a tricky thing, right? You've got to try to keep those arms in good enough shape right now and throughout the season. You've got to manage these arms and you've got to really hope for the best with some of these arms. They might need to make a pickup along the way, like you said, or a substitution or something like that. But for this team to be able to get off to such a good start with it is really encouraging. It's promising.
And, there's a little bit of depth still for the San Diego Padres. And just right now in El Paso, we've brought him up a lot before when anyone was struggling. We brought him up, but Jeremiah Estrada,
Yeah.
right now at AAA, just to let everyone know, it's continued. 7 games, 7 2/3 innings. He struck out 17. 17 in 7 2/3 innings.
Yeah.
That's hater territory, like prime hater territory, like 15 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's wild. 2.35 ERA, whip of 0.91. So he's not walking the world right now. He's striking out the world. So that's another guy that's just kind of waiting in the wings, whether a Morejon struggles or if something happens along the way. That's somebody I'm excited to see come up and contribute.
And that's great too. It's great for the Padres and great for this front office to be, you're always thinking about it, right? You hear managers say that the bullpen is what keeps you up at night. The bullpen is really what makes you worry. And so, yeah, AJ Preller in this front office, they are probably looking to stack the depth as well as they can, as deep as they can, and make sure that they're prepared for any kind of situation. You know what? If you don't have to use those guys, great. Or you don't have to use them as often as you think, great. But they're there if you need them, and they're working to make their way to the big leagues.
Padres bullpen has turned into a great strength. Let's hope it keeps rolling.
I remember
Turned
when
back into a great strength.
that's us just getting
back in.
Thank
It
you,
was a
Braden.
great strength at the beginning of the year. It's not like this new phenomenon.
Oh no,
They were really good going in the year. They had a tough start. They're going back into what we expected them to be.
I was more just going even back further. Like this, this typically has been the bullpen has typically been a strength for the Padres
For sure.
year after year after
100%.
year. And it just makes me laugh. Like, so I like this mix right now because of how aggressive they are. And like you said, they're throwing strikes. It reminds me of, I always go back to Luke Gregerson,
Adams,
and Bell.
Yeah.
And like they would make t-shirts and the t-shirts would have like a jail.
The penitentiary.
The penitentiary. Oh my God. The penitentiary. I could not remember what it was.
Joe Thatcher.
But that was another time. And admittedly, the Padres were in a different world at that point. They weren't, necessarily in playoff contention and being picked by MLB Network to go deep into the season or things like that, the postseason. But they were a strength of the ball club where you felt like whenever you handed the game over to them, they were going to get it done. And it was very rare that they didn't. And they had that just very edgy aggression to them. And that's how I kind of feel that this bullpen is getting. And you love that mindset when you start to make that happen.
I do not see a San Diego Penitentiary t-shirt on
Charisma
on Google.
in the chat. I was thinking of that shirt the other day. If anyone can find that shirt, it's Charisma. Charisma, I need you to find that shirt.
I want that shirt.
Or Fuger, if you're listening. I bet you Fuger has one deep in the archives of Petco Park somewhere. Maybe not, but maybe in his closet.
Deep in the
something.
catacombs, there's a bunch of
how
t-shirts.
there's a fossil of what's your mascot?
Of Dinger.
Of Dinger
Yes.
in
My mascot.
in Coors Field or around there. Well, at Petco Park, there's
it.
penitentiary t-shirts somewhere.
Did you see Dinger last night, Braden?
I think I saw him sadly walking around for his ball club.
Little Triceratops.
I think
all that's going to be left of that club.
We
is
must
Dinger.
save Dinger and bring him back to San Diego and let him be happy on a
Bring
good
him
team.
home.
He could be the Friars' buddy.
Oh, how sweet that would be if he just had a buddy. Like they could do an
just
odd
walking
couple
around.
show,
Mhm.
like
They
rent an
should-
apartment downtown.
Oh, that'd be
Trading
nice.
mascots. You get the Friar out there in Colorado for no reason. We got a purple Triceratops wearing a Padres jersey.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take some work, brother,
You know what?
to try and bring him across the line.
Yeah.
I think we
Can we
need
disguise
more-
him as a Petco pet? Like,
I just think the Friar needs to celebrate his birthday by inviting all the mascots over, like the Fanatic did.
look, it's the blue dog and the red cat and the purple
They're-
dinosaur.
They
But
used
they
to be
changed the
there.
color of the dog and the cat. They're not. It's not. It's just Muse now and Ruff, not Red Ruff and Blue Muse. And they changed the colors of them. They
Why?
don't look like the Petco mascots.
Whatever.
That's lame. I like Red Ruff. Red Ruff is cool.
All I have to do is
Blue
just
Moose
say
is cool.
Dinger,
Start the
right?
It's good stuff.
pull the lever.
Solid.
People
Right.
love mascots.
That's exactly right.
People love mascots.
I used to say put a nickel in, but
Put a nickel in. There you go. Yeah.
Pull the
Now I kind of want to
Pull the lever
get
for it.
something for I know he says he's not going to work. You know what? No, I take that back.
I don't want
We
to be.
need a
I
mascot
I
parade
don't
to come
want to
through here.
be
Yes.
a mascot.
Like come through the office. Just
I like
one day
hanging
when
out with
Braden's
mascots.
sitting there, he faces the window.
We've had
Just
the
a
Friar come in
parade
before.
of mascots. I don't. But
All the
the
mascots?
Friar's great, but just bring in some more different ones, unique.
As long as I get to pick my top 10 favorite mascots to walk through, that'd be insane. You know, you can rent mascots for like your events, right? I would never do this, by the way. I would never, as much as I love mascots, I would never do this. But people like invite Super Frog to their wedding and he shows up.
Oh wow.
That's a different level of just mascot love. I couldn't do that.
Let's take a break. It's 11:21. When we come back, who's playing third base tonight for the Padres? We don't have the literal answer yet, but I'm really curious what Graham Pauley's role is on this team right now. Let's hash it out as the Padres deep dive continues. Annie and Elsten with you on the Fan. Listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball. Sam will cover everything going on with the Padres. You can find it at 973thefansd.com or the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Find it right there. Andy and Elsten back with you, rolling through some Padres content, heading toward the 12 o'clock sports fix with all the news that's fit to speak at the top of the hour. Just went through the Padres bullpen, doing great things. Hoping to hear that continue today.
Yeah.
Anytime at Coors Field you talk about pitching, I'm like, no jinx, no jinx, no jinx.
Humidor
Yeah, well,
doing its thing, man.
no go juice. Just pouring it on.
Still a close game though in Colorado when you're playing a division team. Like I said, it was
loved
going to
him.
be last night.
And I love what Dylan Cease said after the game too. He told reporters that he had line, right? Like he noticed that his pitches weren't landing as well as he'd liked in the bullpen that he threw before the game. And so Ruben Niebla told him, you got to change your eyesight, aim a little lower here for this one, aim a little higher for the fastball or whatever, change where you aim. And he was able to make that adjustment, and that's led to him having such a good start. And did you notice also he added apparently a pitch? He added a cutter to his repertoire. So, and he mentioned that after the game too, that he's been working on some new pitches, also probably a Ruben Niebla thing. So this guy's good. He's been dominant to start the season.
It's one of those things in the spring and the winter when everyone was dismissing the Padres. And look, it's very understandable to do so. They go, well, look, they just lost Blake Snell. They just lost Waka and Lugo. They just lost Nick Martinez. They just lost Josh Hader, and they lost Juan Soto. So you just can't replace that production. But in reality, and this isn't even a diss on Hader, who I'm happy to diss when the time is needed.
Yeah, you love jumping on that guy.
Sure. But Suarez has outperformed him. Like, not just this year in terms of he's off to a bad start in Houston, but like, this is what you want from a closer. You want a closer that can come in and get you 4 and 5 outs. You want a closer that's just going to be nails and lock everything down. Suarez has been that. He has been tremendous. And again, I love Blake Snell. Cease has been better than Blake Snell. Like, what Cease is doing now is what Blake did at the end of last year when he was rolling through opponents left and right. He never was like this at the beginning of the year. If you told me that Blake Snell was starting in Colorado yesterday, I'd be like, guaranteed 85 pitches in the top of the fourth with 1 out, 2 on, and a 3-1 count to Charlie Blackmon. Like, just like an absolute ironclad guarantee. So, and look, no one is Juan Soto, but Jurickson Profar
Don't stop it.
has come on
Stop
this
it.
team
Stop it.
and done a great job.
Stop.
He's done a great job.
He has done a great job.
The
but
Jurickson
stop.
Profar jersey.
I bought the Mr.
I bought
Relevant
the shirt,
t-shirt.
too.
Yeah, I bought the t-shirt.
Yes.
My family
Still
bought
waiting
the
for it
shirt.
to arrive.
Craig, my family bought the shirt after you and I bought the shirt. It already arrived for them.
How is that the case?
I don't know.
I haven't even gotten the, hey, your shipment's on the way.
Mine's coming Wednesday. Tomorrow.
Well, I'm a
Jurickson
little ticked off.
Profar's RBI single moved him into a tie for second on the team with 14 RBIs. His 407 on base percentage is tops on the Padres. He always seems to be involved when a win is happening somehow in the play.
He cleaned up.
Doing a tremendous job. I talked to Jurickson Profar the other day about working with Fernando Tatis Sr. over the offseason, and he said that it just helps him tremendously, and that he looked at me and he goes, I just talked to him today. And I was like, senior? And he's like, yeah, we talk all the time. He's always telling me what he sees with my swing or how I might be able to make an adjustment here or there. So love that. Jurickson Profar has his own relationship with Fernando Tatis Jr.'s dad, Fernando Tatis
Senior.
And
Yeah, right.
and they have their own relationship, and he works with him on his hitting, and it has helped. But I just also think it, as we've talked about so many times, he's very comfortable in San Diego.
Yeah.
It helps him to be here.
I was listening to Jesse this morning on with Ben and Woods, and I appreciated that he said the same thing I've said on this show, but I've been called a hater for it or whatever for it. But
A Josh Hader.
but literally his time in Colorado last year, statistically, the metrics, the numbers, he was the least productive player in baseball. He was at the actual bottom of the list. They make a list, and he was at the bottom of the list. That's what he did there. That's what he did there in Colorado. It didn't work. It never fit. And the winter prior, I said, you should not opt out, Jurickson. The grass isn't always greener. Don't opt out. You're going to wind up miserable somewhere else. He wound up miserable somewhere else. But the way he steps in and just does whatever is needed for this team is beautiful. Whether or not he has the physical talent of a Juan Soto, who does, right? Juan Soto's one in 20 years. But he is a teammate. He is a member of this team. And whether that sounds trite or cliche, I mean it in the biggest sense possible. Like, he's integrated to the team, into the players. He's connected, and he creates connections within the group. And anybody who is a boss or understands group dynamic, like, he's one of those people that you need for a successful group, even if he's not the best salesperson, best whatever in the group.
He's a glue guy. Now, you are called a hater because you said he has no value and he holds a boombox. That's the hater thing. I didn't
say that.
You were saying he was vibes guy only.
Right.
At the beginning of the season.
Brings
at least we got the vibes.
So
that's
I want you to
kind
wear
of what the
that
narrative was.
Mr. Relevant shirt proudly when it arrives.
Yeah.
And no, he does. I think you're absolutely right in the sense that last year the stats were very bad. They were atrocious for him. And we talked about how his spring training was interrupted. He didn't sign with the Rockies until late, didn't get hardly any work in the minors. And so he wasn't built up. The Rockies wanted him on the team after like 2 spring training games or extended spring training games or whatever. So yeah, rough time. And he's been asked about Colorado before. Doesn't really like to talk about it.
Yeah. Again yesterday, right?
Yeah. Again yesterday. Kevin had that. Doesn't really like to talk about it.
I wouldn't want to talk about it either if I had the season I
right,
had the year before.
Right. But he did say different priorities. And I think that being part of a team that is also working to win and feel like it has a chance at the postseason has got to be so different than being part of a team in Colorado that you just feel like you're trying to pump up your own individual stats enough to get traded somewhere and get a better contract because you know your team's really going nowhere, so very different. But yeah, it definitely, out of all of Jurickson Profar's career, he's been most comfortable in San Diego, and he does bring. It's not just the production that he's bringing. It is the fact that he's edgy, he's intense in a good way. That smile, he is also good energy and good vibes, but he's very much team oriented. He holds the guys around him accountable. And he's really one of those guys that doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear any excuses, doesn't want to hear this and that, but he'll also kind of go to war for you. So really, really a good addition, a good glue guy, as they say.
Yeah. And that's it. He's one of those players that you cannot properly evaluate simply by looking at his sliders and looking at his expected this and his weighted run created that. And as you know, I completely embrace that. I'm not here to crap on it, but at the same time, there always will be limits to any level of evaluation. It's equally the same on the other side. You can't just look at a guy's personality and say, well, we got the 25 best personalities, so now we got the best team. Of course not. Right. You'll probably win 71 games with the all vibes team, but it matters. Like his specific case, it matters the way that he integrates with this group.
And at the end of the year, will Juan Soto's numbers be better than Jurickson Profar? Maybe, but the fit for Jurickson Profar, if he can at least keep up part of this production, right? Because I don't expect that. I don't know if he, yes, he expects it and he should, but there'll probably be a time when he's going through a rough patch or maybe his numbers come back down to earth a little bit. But if he can keep up some of this production and also continue to be, which he always will be, the teammate guy, the guy who is pushing these guys to be better. It's not like the other day he said something like, it's not good enough when we aren't doing the things that are good enough. He isn't coming from this place of like, we're just fine. Right. He's like, there's a lot to like here, but we've got to clean up what we're doing poorly. And it sounds like it's silly. It's just like, a lot of guys say these sorts of things, but he really means it. He's like, everybody, we need to do this, So, there's a lot that he brings to the table, but I was going to tell you too, like he doesn't for $1 million too. Like that's right. The value there that you're getting right now.
Insane.
It's insane. Right.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'd be happy to pay him $7 million for what he's doing, which is what he would have gotten paid this year if he had never opted out. He would have been here and been here last year at that price. And I think it would have been great for him. And listen, I see Richard in the chat and he says, good energy is likely to have a 700 OPS the rest of the season. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Sure. Yeah, probably. Like his career OPS is 710.
Right.
And if he finishes at 725, because he had a little bit better year this year than someone else. The point that we're trying to make here is not that Jurickson Profar is the best left fielder or the sixth best left fielder in the National League. It's that he fits here. He
Right.
works with this group. He integrates specifically into this group in a way that he wouldn't if you just dropped him into the Florida locker room or the Mets locker room or really anywhere else. It works here. And because it works here, I feel like it's a guy that you can just back all year long. Even if inevitably the 4 for 40 that comes down the road, you can still back this kid and know that he is helping this group stay connected.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has a place on this team. And the guys around him, I think, also lift him up in terms of you do see a light at the end of this tunnel where this team has a chance to make the postseason. And that should fire you up as a player. And you do need these guys that they don't make the millions upon millions of dollars. They aren't set for life. Like Jurickson Profar has always had a chip on his shoulder because he has struggled. Again, he was a Tatis. He came in as the number one signing or whatever it is. The biggest potential
Number one prospect in baseball.
Number one prospect. Thank you. I can never remember what that was. The number one prospect in baseball. Exactly. And it didn't work out for him the way that it has for, say, a Fernando Tatis Jr., but he's never lost that edge and that hunger and that fire and that chip on his shoulder. And to his detriment sometimes. Now, sometimes, he gets a little chippy, gets a little cocky, but you will take that. You will take a guy that has a little bit of a come at me, bro. And sometimes that's not going to work out. Maybe he's going to get, start something or whatever. I don't think that ejection the other night, I thought that was a really quick hook. I don't think that was on Profar personally.
Well, after he threw his bat, the umpire said, "That's all you get," and then he threw his helmet.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He gave him one toss, and then he threw the other thing.
To be
Okay.
honest,
And
when
then it
he
was
tossed
like-
the bat, I thought you were about to get tossed.
Okay.
And they gave him the leash on the toss of the
Okay.
bat, and then the umpire says something to him, and then he tosses the lid, and then he was like, "All right."
I mean, yeah, he didn't yell MFU, as he did it, but like, that's
He
at
was
the
going
very
line.
least, he was going to get the old
Okay.
finger for the fine. You know how they used to just point and go, "Yep, that's 500 on you, buddy."
But but the point is like, and we've seen him jawing, we've seen Profar, we've seen that. But the point is that that can, you have a guy that every player on this team knows he's going to fight for you, he's going to go to war for you, and he's going to have your back, and it kind of helps the other guys have that same mentality.
Love what we're seeing. Let's hope let's hope we all keep it up, right? Just keep this group connected and see what happens. It's been so much more fun to watch Padres baseball so far this year. It really has.
Yeah.
So let's keep it up. When we come back, Braden's got the latest round of bold statements from the now 1/8 poll of the Major League Baseball season. We'll roll through some of those as we head toward 12 o'clock in the 12 o'clock Sports Fix. Annie and Elsten here with you on the Fan.
Yeah.
This hour of Annie and Elsten is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. From a healthier weight to more energy, when you switch your dog's food to the Farmer's Dog, the effects can feel magical. What sorcery is this? None at all. It's just real food made for the health of dogs. Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/radio. Thought about that again this morning, giving Sammy his kibble and blueberries and oatmeal. Put through a little blueberries.
You keep
and oatmeal
thinking
on top.
about it, but you're not
Yeah.
pulling the trigger, Craig. What's going on?
Well,
What's taking you
I'm
so
waiting
long?
for, I don't know, an endorsement opportunity.
there
I
you
mean,
go.
you
There
know,
you go.
like chance to maybe take this to another level.
Oh, wow.
Relationship between us and the Farmer's Dog. Let's, elevate it.
You went on a couple dates, I guess, by mentioning the name, and now you're
Mhm.
seeing
Yeah, maybe we get
hey,
Sammy
What's
is
gonna
like a
be there.
somebody wants a title on
time.
this.
Yeah. What
Somebody
if-
needs
what
to be
if,
Facebook official?
what if my dog Sammy became like the spokes dog of the Farmer Dog?
Spokes
Like he's a
dog.
very handsome bug. Maybe he could be a
Why don't you take a picture of Sammy and send it in to them or something?
Yeah. Say
And-
we should have a grumble of pugs.
maybe I should.
It's a good idea, Craig. I like
Hey,
that.
All right. Okay, let's do that. All right. Let's take a second. Braden's done this for us a few times, Annie. Pulled up the standings, pulled up some early season trends, and asked us to weigh in on our thoughts as to whether or not this is going to hang on or it's going to dissipate into the ether. So what do you got for us this time, Braden, as we ask, will this stick or will it stay?
Yeah, here's the standings that I know you wanted to look over. So I have that planted for you as a little bit of a resource, if you will, as you go through some of these questions. ESPN.com. Buster Olney actually put out this article, some trends that are going on with Major League Baseball. And you were going to tell me whether or not you believe or not believe whether or not these trends can continue. Apparently, according to Buster Olney, the metrics suggest that Mookie Betts has played an above average shortstop. He has scored a +3 in defensive runs saved behind only Anthony Volpe and Bobby Witt Jr. at his position. But more importantly, his production at the plate right now is peerless. If you'd prefer to keep it simple and judge Betts with the stats you see on the Jumbotron, he has you covered. He's batting .347, and he's among the major. This is from last week, and he's among the major league leaders in runs, RBIs, home runs, hits, and walks. Buy or sell, Mookie Betts is the best he has ever been.
I buy that.
Yeah, easy buy.
He's
Easy
better
buy.
than any other year he has ever had. So
He was a
far.
right fielder before. He's playing shortstop and he's not stinking it up. I thought when they moved him to shortstop that he was
Yeah.
going to be surprisingly average.
He's been good.
He's been really good.
He hasn't even looked like it's been that much of a struggle.
Well,
Yeah.
he was a middle infielder coming up. It's a more natural position for him. He
Yeah.
got thrown in right field because he's an athlete. Did well.
But
So
the
who
Red
knows?
Sox took him off short because he didn't have the arm. That's what
Right,
they
that's
believed.
what
Is
they
he didn't have the
believed.
arm for
Yeah.
short.
And at the plate, he's been tremendous. I mean, he's been
Expressed another way of what Annie's saying. Betts has more home runs than missed swings on pitches in the zone this year. 6 home runs, 4 missed swings on pitches in the zone.
It's almost though you look at that lineup for the Dodgers, and because he's been good, and I'm pretty sure Freddie Freeman's been doing well, and Ohtani, except for runners in scoring position, but then they drop off. You're almost like wasting this. I mean, good for the Padres, good for anybody else in the NL West, and I'm sure the Dodgers will come around and get it a little bit more together. But that top of the lineup with Betts leading it off has been incredible.
The question is, will it last? Buster only says he's not going to lead the league in hits and walks, which he did for the first 2 weeks of the season, something that's never happened. But he says Betts has a huge jump start towards winning another MVP award. Buy or sell, he is the favorite to win the MVP this season
Sure.
at this point.
In
Today?
less than a month of baseball played, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the today MVP.
Yes. If the season ended today.
Against the Texas Rangers last Friday, the Houston Astros allowed 6 runs in the third inning, the third consecutive game in which Houston surrendered at least 6 runs in an inning. This is a first in the Astros' storied history of pitching and just one symptom of a larger problem developing earlier this season. Justin Verlander is on the injured list. So he just came back. So are Jose Urquidy and Framber Valdez. With most of the rotation down and with new manager Joe Espada still early in the process of identifying bullpen options, in the middle innings, the Astros pitching is a mess, bearing a 5.35 ERA. Only the Rockies rank behind them. For the first time in Alex Bregman's 9-year career, he's taken the field with his team more than 5 games under 500. As of right now, they're 7-16 on the year. Buy or sell, the Houston Astros are in serious trouble.
I buy this because of the depth of their injuries, because Hunter Brown has started what he needs to now be the best pitcher on the Astros while they get everyone back. And instead he's got an ERA of 10. And every time he's out there, he's down 3-0 in the first inning. Houston has a lot of aging players. Aging players can hang on, but sometimes they drop off a cliff. And right now, other than Jordan, I take that back. Obviously, Tucker is great. Pena's been good in the playoffs, but the young shortstop hasn't been a good offensive player in the regular season in each of his first 2 years. I think there's a way for the Astros to not make the playoffs this year. Now, in the division, Texas right now is 12-11. Seattle's 500. But the Mariners have a really good starting rotation. I feel like that's going to bear fruit over time. Texas gets Scherzer back in a couple of weeks.
I think DeGrom's expected to come back eventually.
Right. So I think they get better as the year goes on. It's not impossible, Annie, for Houston to turn around and win 95 games and go to the ALCS, but they're not in a good spot right now.
I agree. Like a team like that, you can't count them out. They've done it before. They know how to win. They are not counting themselves out over there, believe me. So I don't think it's crazy to think that they might make in the postseason. Then once they get in, be able to do what they normally do, so they can turn it around. But you get hit by that many injuries, like I do think they're in trouble. They have a lot of injuries. I think they're in trouble. And Josh Hader's on a whirling.
Well, Ryan Presley's not doing well either.
Right, Ryan Presley's not doing well. So I think they are absolutely in trouble.
Will it last? Are they gonna be where they're at right now, which is last place?
No,
I don't think they'll be in last place.
No, I don't think so.
Eventually, Oakland will be in, LA will be in 4th, but they may not get over 3rd.
Houston needs to get some of those guys back. Superstars who journey from other places to New York have almost uniformly run a gauntlet of judgment before reaching acceptance. Some never get there. Jason Giambi and A-Rod won MVPs elsewhere, but were booed in their early days of being Yankees. Hell, Giancarlo Stanton has hit 139 homers to the Yanks and is still routinely booed. But Juan Soto, so far, there's an early love affair happening between Soto and Yankees fans. Very unusual, but earned. He's hitting 328, 457 on base, OPS at 972. Of course, this is all perfectly timed for Soto as he moves closer to free agency in the fall. Yankees will aim to retain him, and sources with the Mets organization have said that the team intends to make a run too. Juan Soto is beloved in the Bronx. Will it last? Will the love affair of Juan Soto this season last in the Bronx?
No.
I say as long as he's producing, it's going to last.
Yes.
Yes. At some point, he will go through a slump, I would imagine.
And that's when the love affair will end.
Yeah.
But it's just how much of the love affair will they tolerate? How much do you have to earn their respect before, like, where they just don't tolerate that much of a downfall?
Juan is a difficult player because of his walk rate and because of his propensity to take 2-0 and 3-1 pitches right down the heart of the plate, because it's not in the specific part of the plate that he was lockboxing to swing at. So you've already heard New York random hosts, "Hey, walk, this guy's always just to get a walk.
A big spot. How do you walk there?"
Yeah. So like it will not last forever unless he hits like this forever.
I mean, unpopular opinion, I guess. I think it's going to last all year. He's in a walk year. I think that he's going to get his bag when the season ends. And so I think it's going to last all year. And then the following years,
maybe, yeah, you're on it.
if he's still a Yankee, I think that the relationship might sour in future
paying
years.
this guy $68 million a year. And for
That's
what?
right.
Yeah.
To walk.
Exactly.
Mike Trout is back to being Mike Trout. Will it last?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm buying Mike Trout.
As long as he stays healthy, I think so.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are regretting letting Tyler O'Neill go.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
Will that last? Tyler O'Neill going to continue his trend and to the point where Walker, Newbar, Carlson, and Burleson, all for the Cardinals, do not have good years.
I think it's less that O'Neill will keep hitting. Well, he's not going to OPS 1209 for the Red Sox the rest of the year. That's for sure. But I think the Cardinals will regret letting him go all year, even as his performance declines in Boston.
I agree.
At the end of the year, the Cardinals going to be like, "Why did we trade him? Or why did we let him go?"
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So you think that'll last?
Yeah.
Oakland Athletics aren't the worst team in baseball.
Definitely not.
I buy it. Right.
Will that last?
Yes.
Yes. 100%. I think the White Sox might be the worst team ever.
Yeah. Did you know that the White Sox are a 3-game losing streak away from matching the Orioles 88?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, 5-game. 3-19. This is accurate in here, right? Yeah. So 5 more and they'd be 3-24. That 0-21 team.
They got
was also
shut out
3-24.
again last night.
Wow.
Remember, the last buy or sell, well, they lose 120 games.
They're on
That's
pace.
looking a lot better each and every
That is
day.
rough scene.
Happy we aren't there. Shout out our guy Herb Lawrence from CHGO.
Poor Steven Wilson.
All right,
Yeah.
12 o'clock Sports Fix next. Lunchtime has arrived in America's finest city. Tuesday, April 23rd, hour number 3 of Annie and Elsten underway with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, with Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Suprenant, Craig Elsten on hand. We are excited to be back with you today, rolling till 2 o'clock, and the Gwen and Chris show at 4:40. Sam Levitt takes over with the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show, 5:40. First pitch will be thrown by Ryan Feltner to the San Diego Padres. He of the Colorado Rockies. Michael King will toe the rubber for San Diego. But right now, top of the lunch hour, time to get you all fixed up. It's all the news that's fit to speak in the world of sports today. And we'll start things off with Annie and what's going on with the Padres in big league baseball. Ooh.
Oh, well.
All right,
Okay.
freshen it up.
According to the New York Daily News, Major League Baseball is expected to look at Monday's incident involving Aaron Boone, home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt, and a fan sitting behind the Yankees dugout. A source who was granted anonymity said that it is standard for the league to review all ejections and unusual on-field circumstances. They added that Boone's ejection and other circumstances would merit review. This happened, of course, after Boone was ejected following a fan's heckling. Nothing's going to come of this, but they'll say that they're going to look at it. And
Take a real close look at
Yeah,
this one
they're
and
gonna
let
be
you
like-
know.
Exactly.
That's why I love Annie. She just cuts right through the BS. All right, who's believing this?
Right. Nothing is actually going to come of this.
No.
But they're going to make it seem like it. All right. An arbitrator denied Remus Sports Agency's request for a temporary restraining order that would have allowed its main baseball agent, William Arroyo, to continue representing clients while navigating an appeal of his decertification. Remus Sports was launched in partnership with Grammy Award-winning artist Bad Bunny. Within 1 week of their launch in mid-April 2023, the MLB Players Association received evidence the company had offered players cash and gifts to switch agencies, according to sources. So essentially, they were trying to poach players from
bribe
other
players.
agencies by offering them like a lot of money or
Oh,
gifts.
well, that must be
Offensive.
nice.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
not
nice.
allowed. Right.
Oopsie.
What do you
What?
mean I couldn't do that?
I just didn't know the rules. I'm new.
What do
I'm
you
Bad
mean
Bunny.
I couldn't
What are you
do that?
talking about? That's what I do.
he didn't know.
This is how it worked.
Padres beat the Rockies last night in Colorado 3-1. Dylan Cease goes 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, no walks. He cruised at Coors Field. Tonight's game will feature Michael King on the mound for the Padres, Ryan Feltner for the Rockies. 5:40 p.m. first pitch, 4:40 p.m. Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show with Samuel Levitt, and a trip back in time 25 years ago today. Fernando Tatis Sr. made history
That's right.
by hitting 2 grand slams in the same inning. This was at Dodger Stadium. Both were off of the same pitcher, Chan-Ho Park. No player had hit 2 slams in the same inning before in a major league game, and nobody has done it since. You know, I call him Fernando Tatis Sr., but that's not really his name is Fernando Tatis.
Right.
And then it's Fernando Tatis Jr., just for the sake of clarification.
Once you name
I
your
like
kid
to-
Junior,
You become the senior.
you're
I
a
guess.
senior
He
at that
becomes
point.
senior.
Yeah.
You adopt it.
Okay.
I mean, you wouldn't be the firstborn and be like, I'm Craig Elsten Sr. Right.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if I name my son Craig,
then now you are the senior.
then
Your
I'm
name-
senior.
That's
right.
right.
If he has the same middle name, right?
Okay. That's my story.
Okay. No, I mean,
I had an umpire yell at me for not saying senior one time.
what?
Yeah, at when I was doing a UFD softball game, I was just going off the sheet, and it was like James Edmonds, whatever like that. I forgot what his name was, and he was senior, and I didn't even call him junior; I just called him his name. They're like, "Oh, I'm senior." I'm like, "All right, didn't know." Sorry.
That's like when you meet someone
okay.
and they're like, it's actually Dr. So-and-so. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry,
I
dude.
didn't know.
Yeah, I forgot you got a PhD in
That's
something.
right.
Underwater basket weaving
Right.
PhD. Yeah, thanks, Doc.
Dr. So-and-so.
Baseball
All
right.
scoreboard, Braden, go for it.
Appreciate it. We'll stick with the baseball music. Last night in the American League, A's beat the Yankees 2-0. Aaron Boone was fired up, got ejected from the game. That was fun. And he talked about that. Detroit Tigers over the Tampa Bay Rays 7-1. Blue Jays beat the Royals 5-3. Twins shut out the White Sox. Anybody surprised?
Chris Paddock, 7 innings, 10 Ks, right?
Wow. Chris Paddock wishes he went against the White Sox every night.
Is Michael Paddock still tweeting?
Yeah, he's probably
Great question.
tormenting White Sox
Because
Twitter.
if he is gloating in this so hard right now. I don't know if he really is. I'm trying to see if I can
Go find his
find
Twitter.
it. But
He didn't
anyways, good for
deactivate it.
Chris Paddock. Good for Chris Paddock.
Good for Chris Paddock.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like he's tweeted since 2020.
Good. Smart
Okay.
man. Get off Twitter.
Yes.
It was a good blend for him.
Yeah.
Toxic plays. White Sox are now 3-19. 3-19. Baltimore Orioles beat the LA Angels 4-2 last night. Mike Trout came up with the bases loaded to potentially win the game. Craig Kimbrell struck him out on a pitch that Mike Trout did not agree with home plate umpire. But nonetheless, the halo will not shine bright tonight or last night
No,
or
it did
through
not.
today. It was not.
It was
shining.
darkened.
It was dark in Anaheim. Philadelphia Phillies of the Cincinnati Reds 7-0 last night. Pirates of the Brewers 4-2. Braves beat the Fish 3-0. Cardinals walk it off against the Diamondbacks 5-3. Padres beat the Rocks 3-1, and the Giants outlast the Metropolitans 5-2 in San Francisco. 4 series have not started yet for this week. Red Sox will be at Cleveland. Game 1 of that series will start at 3:10. Dodgers at the Nationals at 3:45. The Astros are on the north side to take on the Cubs at 4:40. And the Mariners are deep in the heart of Texas to take on the Rangers at 5:05. That'll do it for the Major League Baseball scoreboard. But it's time for basketball.
Let's
With
go.
Craig Elsten.
I got your NBA, I got your NHL, and I got your arena to wrap things up. The Denver Nuggets last night trailed the LA Lakers at home by 20 in the third quarter. Then they remembered they're at altitude and they've beaten LA 9 straight times, and all they got to do is start leaning on them and leaning on them.
Maybe they were conserving their energy.
I mean, quite literally, they
Right.
probably were.
Load
They're
management.
like, these guys are going to fall off.
Load management.
You know,
That's right.
I think it
Load
was
management.
Austin Reeves. It was somebody, Austin Reeves or D'Lo, hit a big shot at the end of the first half. And I was like, yes. And my son was just going to bed. And the Lakers were up 15. I'm like, yes, 15. That's a good number. He goes, yeah, but all Denver has to do is hit 5 3-pointers and they'll just tie the game.
That's it.
And he goes, that's why I don't like basketball. Like, you can be up and it just doesn't matter. You can just hit 3-pointers and tie the game. I'm like, well, yeah, but we get to shoot too. Turns out.
Yes.
LA's Anthony Davis didn't get a bucket in the fourth quarter. LeBron James missed a wide open 3, and Jamal Murray over AD, leaning back, 18-foot baseline jumper. Good. 101-99. The Nuggets continue to put the Lakers in the torture chamber. They lead the series 2-0. They've beaten them 10 straight times. And if you can't beat them yesterday, how can you ever beat them? You have 20 points shooting 60%.
Bound to happen.
Never going to
Definitely.
beat them.
Yeah.
They're going to just lose them from now until Jokic's retirement. They're just going to.
Guy's trying to speak the win
Oh.
into existence right now as a Lakers fan. I know what you're doing. You ain't slick,
You're
bro.
reverse jinxing.
You ain't slick.
Right.
Move on.
Broadcaster spell.
Let's see. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
we know he doesn't do the voodoo stuff, Annie, because the Lakers would have been winning some championships.
Right. I'm Dr. Strange over
It only
here.
goes
just
so
trying to
far.
open
That's
the
Brady.
right.
circle.
Okay,
Right.
he's working on the power for
He's
that.
working on the power to
Right.
have the Lakers win a non-Mickey Mouse championship.
Easy. The New York Knicks last night were almost as in bad a spot as the Denver Nuggets. They were down 5 in the final 45 seconds, came all the way back, beat Philly 104-101. Dante DiVincenzo with the key 3-pointer. Knicks take a 2-0 series lead. We'll have the highlights of both of those coming up a little later in the show. Cleveland throttled the Magic offense last night, 96-86 Cleveland. The Cavs are up 2-0. Tonight, 3 more games in the NBA. Phoenix is at Minnesota with the Wolves up 1-0. Pacers are at the Bucks. Milwaukee up 1-0. Mavericks at the Clippers 1-0 for the Clips, but Kawhi is questionable once again. Over to the Stanley Cup playoffs we go. He did it. I wonder if he has the
What a
NHL music.
I have
Switch.
all of them.
Way to go.
Good job.
Put some pizzazz into the sports thing.
Last night on the ice, the LA Kings, usually strong penalty kill, did them in. 3 power play goals for the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers skate off to a 7-4 win. Kings down 1-0 in the series. The Vegas Golden Knights got their captain back. Mark Stone had missed 2 months. Returned to the ice, scored a goal. Vegas begins their Stanley Cup defense with a 4-3 win at Dallas. They're the first team in the NBA or the NHL to win Game 1 on the road so far this year, breaking a recent trend. Payne and the New York Islanders are once again back to being close friends. The Isles blew a 3-goal lead in the third period, lost to Carolina 5-3. Canes have a 2-0 series lead. Austin Matthews remains good. His goal in the third period was the difference maker in a 3-2 Maple Leafs win in Boston. It was the first time Toronto had beaten Boston all year. Now they come home in a 1-1 series tie with home ice. 4 more games tonight. Washington at the New York Rangers. The Lightning and Panthers battle in the Florida Derby. Avalanche and Winnipeg Jets. Nashville and Vancouver. Lastly, we go to the theme song of the San Diego Mojo.
Oh my gosh.
Mojo lost a tough 5-game set at Omaha Saturday, but they host the Omaha Stormbreakers tonight, 7 p.m. at Viejas Arena, looking to get another win to continue to stay in playoff position inside the Pro Volleyball Federation. Seals, just a reminder, prepping for a single elimination quarterfinal against Panther City Saturday night at Pechanga Arena, winner take all. And do we have any college and high school, Braden, to wrap it up?
We do.
Let's do it.
So we got the crosstown rivalry. The Aztecs are making the quick drive over Interstate 8 to USD to take on the Toreros tonight at 6:05. I'll be on the call at 6 o'clock on USDToreros.com and ESPN+. Aztecs 11-28 on the season in baseball. USD 26 and the UC San Diego Fighting Craig Elstons are off tonight. They will be resuming action over the weekend. Not a lot of Tuesday games for UCSD. They will play 2 midweek games next week at Arizona State, so it's not like they don't play those games, but they're off again on a Tuesday. In high school baseball, had some games played yesterday that were not at Petco Park. St. Augustine beat Ramona 3-0. Poway over Westview 2-0. San Diego Cavers beat the Morse Tigers 9-8 in a league game. And Jocelyn Sage Creek Bobcats off the schneid after losing to Mission Hills twice last week and tying them once. They beat Rancho Buena Vista 10-5 yesterday. There were a couple of games at Petco Park yesterday, 3 to be exact, and 3 more that will happen today. University City, the Centurions beat Lincoln 6-0. The Hornets, with the win, UC is now 17-5 on the year. Lincoln 9-11-1. Monte Vista Monarchs beat the Mount Miguel Matadors 9-2 at Petco. They improved to 14-16-1. Mount Miguel now falls to 9-11. Coastal Academy Stingrays beat the Vincent Memorial Scots last night 18-1. Good moment for the Vincent Memorial Scots out in Calexico. Their entire team is from Mexico, and they travel across the border to Calexico every day to play baseball and go to school at Vincent Memorial. Great opportunity for them to play at Petco Park.
Yes.
John Maffey had an article about them in this morning's paper. They will be back next week to watch the Padres play the Reds, and a good gift from the San Diego Padres on that one. Of course, inviting all these high schools to play at Petco as well. 3 more games today that have already started, I think. Borrego Springs, the Rams will take on the Warner Wildcats in game 1. Southwest El Central, the Eagles making the long trip out to Petco Park to face the Calexico Bulldogs. And then to finish up, the Eastlake Titans will take on the Montgomery Aztecs, which is always a really good game in high school baseball. 2 really good high school baseball programs in town, Eastlake and Montgomery. Those are the 6 games that are happening at Petco Park over the last 2 days. Love to see the high school kids have an opportunity to play
That's
at
awesome.
Petco. So
Sick.
hats off to the Padres on that one.
Yeah, really, really cool.
And that's your 12 o'clock sports fix for today. I'd like to correct one only minor error if you don't care. If you care, it's an error. I tried to, off the top of my head, remember Omaha's team name in the Pro Volleyball Federation, and it's not the Stormbreakers, it's the Supernovas.
They're not the Storm,
Thank
the
you for the
Barnstormers.
Yeah, so, you know,
Correction.
just in case the person who would know heard that and went, jerk, it's this.
Or maybe
Well,
there's
I'll
an
have you-
Omaha
I'll have you know,
Supernova
Supernova.
fan listening right now.
in Omaha.
Flew in for the
Yeah.
game. Was like, hey, where's local sports? Oh
That's
my
right.
God, they mentioned the game. And they did. They got our team.
I
name
can't
wrong.
believe it.
You guys are the worst.
That
No,
would be hilarious.
I will say, wait, Oklahoma?
Omaha.
Omaha, what was the one you...
Stormbreakers. That sounds
Stormbreaker
better, right?
Sounds more Omaha than
yeah.
Supernova.
Right.
Well, aren't they're like the Barnstormers from the Arena League?
Sure.
Right? That's what what's his name played for? Kurt Warner played for the Omaha Barnstormers or something.
I'm sure at some point in my life there's been a team that had that. And Stormbreakers,
Yeah,
Barnstormers.
it also sounds like minor league baseball-y,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The something Barnstormers, or I don't know.
Tricky T says, should we add that to Annie's bar name list, but for the Midwest, the Barnstormers?
Barnstormers.
The Barstormers. I still like
Barstormers is more like
Barnstormers.
it.
I like it. I like it. Okay.
I like the Cougar Gold.
See,
bar.
Callan knew. He says the Storm Chasers are the Royals AAA club.
That's what yeah.
Storm Chasers.
Omaha team.
That
name.
makes sense too. Kansas City.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Midwest, tornadoes, people chasing them.
Sports in Omaha.
Right.
Supernovas.
Supernovas, right? Like, are we looking? But maybe they have clear skies, and you see like
Maybe they had a fan contest and or they asked Chat GPT, please name our team. And it came up Supernovas.
could be.
Some of the team names they've had: Omaha Beef.
Beef?
Indoor football team. The Omaha Beef. They've played at Ralston Arena since 2013.
That's a great name.
The Omaha Beef.
Omaha Beef.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with the Omaha Beef.
Right.
They had the Omaha Nighthawks of the United Football League.
Take a bite out of the Omaha Beef.
They had the Omaha.
So many headlines for that.
Omaha Hearts, which is the Legends Football League for the women's team that they had.
We got nothing but Omaha Heart.
Omaha
Beef curing the competition.
How about the Omaha Omahogs baseball team that started in
That's
1900
terrible.
as part of the new Western
That's
League?
absolutely awful.
They changed their name to the Omaha Indians in 1902. In
Yeah, I wonder
1904,
why.
the team was fielded as the Omaha Packers and then the Omaha Warkus?
The Omaha.
Ruckus. Omahogs.
Omaha Steaks. Is there one of those?
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
thing. That's a real thing.
Company. Omaha Robin Hoods was a team.
Were they stealing from the rich and giving to the poor?
I don't know, but they moved
Okay.
around Rock Island, Illinois, late in that year. So they were Omaha
Led
Cardinals.
the league in steals. Omaha.
Oh, but
Baseball teams in Omaha. You ready for this? The Omaha Green Stockings, the Omaha Lambs, the Omaha Omahogs, Omaha Indians, Omaha Rangers, Omaha Rourkes, Omaha Buffaloes, Omaha Crickets. It's kind of cool. Omaha Packers.
Oh, you're cricket.
Very low attended
Yes.
team.
Nothing but crickets.
Only the Crickets show up. Omaha Robin Hoods, Omaha Cardinals, Omaha Dodgers, Omaha Royals, Omaha Golden Spikes, Omaha Royals, and the Omaha Storm Chasers.
Storm Chasers is good. They got somewhere. They landed on something.
They got the Union Omaha USL League, former USL team, I
Mhm,
guess.
mhm. And that's your Omaha name segment.
I did forget a storyline,
Oh, yeah? What'd you forget?
and that is that Manny Machado is on paternity leave.
That's right.
Right.
We hadn't
And
talked
we
about that
wish
once.
he and his wife, he and his wife, Yainay.
Yeah.
Tripping over myself there. Manny and his wife Yainay a happy and healthy pregnancy and birth, and this is his first child, so he will likely miss all of the Rockies series.
Have we heard anything on the joyous news?
No, I would imagine that will come through the team or their Instagram account at some point.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Omaha Vipers, Craig. MISL team.
Ooh. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, the Omaha Vipers. I think
Back
it was like a
back in
year.
those days, it was the Wichita Wings and the Kansas City Comets that were the key, and the St. Louis Steamers.
Omaha
key teams.
Mannings would actually be
Louis
very good.
Steamers.
Yeah.
They're the Omaha Roller Derby team. God, there's so many great sports in Omaha, Nebraska.
What, you don't like the name St. Louis Steamers? It was for the
That's
steamboats.
hilarious. That's great.
It wasn't what you
Omaha
were thinking.
Storm Chasers.
I like the Omaha Mannings. Omaha.
Yeah, I like that too.
That should be a new name. Omahogs.
All right, let's take a break. The sports fix is in the rearview mirror now. We appreciate it. When we come back, we were all enjoying watching NBA basketball last night. Where are we going to watch it next year? Turns out today is a really important day for that.
Was that today or
Is it?
yesterday?
Well, yesterday was the last day, so today's the first day of a new day.
I thought I read something about the numbers being down or something.
They're always down.
They had
Okay.
nine.
Whoa,
there was a
whoa, whoa.
9%
It's happening in
decrease
basketball.
from
It's
last
happening
year
in
in
the NBA.
the ratings.
Just all ratings are down everywhere, except for the Super Bowl or a
Women's
couple other
Women's-
things.
women's
or
basketball's
Caitlin- right, exactly.
College, the March Madness was up too.
NWSL is up, but big sports, everything's baseball's down. Everyone's down. Everyone's down a little bit.
Okay.
But regardless, they're still fighting it to carve up the pie, and we'll give you the latest on that when we come back. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. Tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. for 97.3 The Fans commercial-free Padres Roundtable featuring Ben and Woods, Annie and Elsten, and Gwen and Chris, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable, the last honest pizza. This week, Ben is on vacation. I just heard him detailing he's in like a big old golf tournament in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Which sounds fun, like some two-man best ball tournament thing he's playing. So
You didn't get the invite?
I wouldn't get the invite.
Why not?
I mean, not good enough.
Oh.
Just had my second lesson yesterday, for
Dude,
goodness
you
sakes.
gotta pump yourself up, man. Let's go. Confidence.
It went well, Annie. Thanks for asking.
Whether you're right, whether you believe you can or can't, you're right. Come on, Craig.
I'm not going to go pay for a tournament to prove that I'm not as good as the tournament golfers. When I get to that level, I'll let you know. When I take a week off to go play in a golf tournament that I'm paying for, trying to win, I will let you know that.
That sounds like a fun time, though, Craig. I would do that for fun.
It's great. Well, okay. Yes, I would take a vacation to play golf as well, Braden. I agree with you.
Yeah.
However, he won't. All this I was saying is he won't be there Thursday, so Annie gets to be the host of the roundtable. Chris, I believe, won't be there as well. Right, because like they're playing.
Ella's not going to be there.
No. Gwen. I meant
Tony.
Gwen, not Chris. Sorry.
I was like,
Yeah.
Chris
Gwen
is
won't be
definitely
there.
not going to
Gwen,
be there.
Chris, right. But Sam Levitt will be there. So replacing
good time.
Tony will be
Yeah.
Sammy.
Am I going to be there?
I don't know. Are you going to be there?
I don't know. It's only for an hour, right?
Ask Adam.
Like I show that.
Oh, maybe you should focus on that. That's right. NFL
We
draft
got the
coverage.
NFL draft show with me, Ello, and Scrappy. Thursday is going to be a great day of just all of our on-air personalities having different from different time slots doing different shows
Yeah.
combined.
Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah, so the NFL draft show will have the entire coverage of the first round of the NFL draft, which will have some great pizza from Roundtable. They're not sponsoring the event, but they are giving.
They're
us
just
pizza.
you're gonna store some in the.
No, they're
throw
actually
it in the fridge real quick.
No, they're actually bringing us.
Oh,
new
are
stuff.
they?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
it'll be a great time.
Nice.
Yes. So it should
Hell
be
yeah.
a good time. Multiple roundtables. If
And that roundtable pizza arriving at 5, sales staff will be gone by then.
that's right.
It's long gone.
We put in our order last week.
You
It's
just-
custom ordered to just me, Scraby, and Chris.
Wow, this is a nice little setup.
It's
Good
gotta
for
be
you guys.
great. Yeah.
It is. Exciting. Hey, update on what we were talking about in the 12 o'clock sports fix. Seniors and juniors.
Mhm.
The great Ernie Hahn II, who, of course, ran the sports arena for
Mhm.
many years, texted during the break when we were saying you can't be senior until you get a junior. He said, actually, correct. And the only way you can get Roman numeral 2 is if it skips a generation.
Wait, Ernie Hahn is texting you this?
Yeah.
That it can only be.
So
Okay.
right. So like if I'm Craig Elsten,
Yep.
if I named my son Craig Elsten, he'd be Craig Elsten Jr., and then I would become Craig Elsten Sr.
Mhm.
Now, if Craig Elsten, then my son, James, names his son Craig Elsten, that would be Craig Elsten II.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, has to skip a generation. According to Ernie, who I'm sure is correct because he's Ernie Hahn II. He says, my grandpa was Ernest Walter Hahn the first. My dad was not, but I was named after my grandpa and I became Ernest Walter Hahn II.
Oh, that's cool.
Because he wouldn't be
Right.
junior. Right.
And then his son, who he names Ernie, becomes Ernest Hahn III.
Third.
right.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
A little bit of lineage trivia.
Little lineage knowledge.
So when I marry, when I'm part of the royal family or whatever, and there's
Right.
a second, third, fourth.
Are you going to be a member of the royal family?
I don't know.
Yeah, wait, what are you announcing something right now?
Maybe in
Wait a
East County or something. I'll be able to second, third, fourth it. But yeah, no, that is actually a really, really nice little trivia note, a little fun fact. And I actually really appreciate, players used to not put if they're the second or the third on their jerseys, and now they do. And I think it's cool because, like Ernie is saying, there's obviously a history there and a reason that you are named that person after that person.
Yeah. So just a little knowledge being kicked down from Ernie Hahn.
Very
Would
nice.
you consider-
Ernie, I appreciate you bestowing that upon us.
Would you
Yes.
consider a pizza with sausage and onion a weird pizza order?
No,
No, I wouldn't say that either.
I know that's Ella's favorite. I
Yeah.
heard him talk about that.
Adam says that's the weirdest pizza order ever.
That's
I do meatball and onion. little pepperoni
it's
sometimes.
fine.
Sausage, that's
It's fine.
What? Adam, cyborg. What are we
Yeah.
doing here?
Well, Adam doesn't eat food.
Yeah, that's right. Except for spicy wings.
Yes,
Keeps data.
he enters data in the data
Yeah.
slot.
That's right.
Exactly. Just puts the data in the data slot.
Yummy.
All right, let me pay off the tease. Yesterday, Monday, was the final day of exclusive negotiations between NBA, the National Basketball Association, and ESPN.
Thank you.
Sorry, I said it so
in the
weird.
National
I don't know. Right. Thank you,
Basketball
Chainsaw.
Association.
Should throw in some stand up right in between those two pauses.
In the fake cheering.
Right. So as of today, it's an open market for the NBA going forward. And reading some things through Front Office Sports, hearing some stuff that Bill Simmons was talking about last week, it really seems like there are some streaming companies that are coming in hard to try and get a big piece of the next NBA package. ESPN wants to keep what they've got. TNT at least wants to keep the top end of what they've got. But the question becomes, is a company like Amazon willing to spend what it would take to put something so premier as the NBA Finals off of broadcast television and onto a streaming service? And before that sounds too crazy, Annie, I mean, Peacock will exclusively air the first football game of the season this year. NFL has already gone way down this road.
Peacock is
Yeah, I
airing
read
the
that.
first NFL game.
That's what I read.
We'll not be watching that.
I don't think it's improbable. I don't think any of it's impossible anymore. I think that we're going to start seeing these deals that were unheard of. You know, like you'd only have these streaming services as these one-off games, and now look at that, like the first game of the season, they're going to broadcast on streaming. So I don't think any of it is out of the question anymore. Anything's fair game for the right price. Anything is fair game.
It's true, and that's the direction it's going. Here's what I thought was the interesting part of this story, Annie. One of the biggest pitches that streamers are giving to leagues is the same thing that we would think would actually work against them in terms of getting rights. But it's not as much anymore of the promise of an audience in terms of like, when you're on ours, you're going to get the maximum audience and you're going to connect with the maximum number of people. Instead, these companies are saying the people that we have, the consumers we have, you're not just going to get their eyeballs, you're going to get their data. We're going to give you all the information on how they're interacting with your programming, what they do, when they do it. And we've got everything down to the instant because it's a streamer and because you always just click through that thing that it says accept terms and conditions.
Which you don't do on TV, which is a violation of privacy. That's why our ratings in TV and radio are not as exact as on streaming, because when you listen to the radio and watch on TV, you don't sign the disclaimer agreement. You just tune in, and it's against the regulations. But with streaming, as Craig is alluding to, you have to check, yes, go ahead, get rid of all my data, show everybody what I'm watching. It's a more confined science than what you see on linear TV.
So this is really about getting the information, as we all know, is so financially desired from companies, right? In terms of being able to target certain advertising and things like that to audiences and knowing our watching habits and things like that. So this is really about that.
That's what it's about. Oof. Yeah, it is. That's what's wild. Sports leagues are going to voluntarily, and they're already doing it. The NFL is already doing it. Everyone follows the NFL, right? Where has MLB been? They've been on Peacock. They've been on Apple. And when you're watching on Apple, MLB gets to know exactly how many people tuned in, which people tuned in, what are the demographics of that, what are their spending habits. Yeah. If it's somebody like me who's fully Apple integrated, like, what screen did they watch on? What did they order with their Apple Card afterwards? You know, what every single bit. And while on one side that works against big rights fees because they're like, yeah, we actually know how many people are watching, dude. It's not something some Coke Apple sales guys made up. You know, it's like it's real data. The flip of that is the real data can now be used by that league to change the way that they present the product or to alter any one aspect. Well, Tuesday nights don't work, but this works. Like they can use that data. So and use it all the way through. Well, here's the people who are going to buy jerseys. Like all of it, the vertical integration is what they're seeking over the ratings.
I hate the sound of it, but the reality of it is it's already going on. And I just haven't taken the time probably to realize how deeply it's probably already happening in my own life based on what I'm watching or what I'm tuning into or what streaming service I open. So I hate the sound of it because it's like, man, but it's probably already happening. And maybe I guess if I'm going to be optimistic, maybe it will help drive what viewers do really want. I think it just ends up driving their bottom line some way, direction or another. And we're sort of
eventually
the cattle along with that.
People are going to make a decision on whether or not it's worth it. Right, because as Adam put out, it's a big ask. They don't care because they know you're desperate enough. You're going to do it, right?
So because this is going to mean you're going to.
They're not going to put it on one platform.
Right,
they're going to put it on like 5 different ones, which means you're paying $10 a month per platform. And if there's like 3 or 4 of them, that's $40 a month if you want to watch your favorite team. Right.
I got to tell you, I get fatigued from it. I really do. I get to a point where I'm like, I am not signing up for another streaming service.
I'm going to be honest with you.
I just don't care enough. Like, and if I miss the game, I find another way to watch it.
People cancel all the time. I will say this, if you take the price out, because right now it's still probably cheaper to do streaming than cable. Cable is a superior product of watching sports than streaming is. You get it instantly.
Absolutely.
It's a superior product.
You get to flip channels.
You get to flip channels. You got them all. They're all in there. If you buy like the, MLB, package, whatever. And again, you get it instantly. You're not on a delay. It doesn't affect your internet. It's a superior product, but people love streaming because for so long it was like this kind of fake a la carte instance where it was a little bit cheaper and you could use the cable site logins that your parents had in order to watch. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see.
I still do.
Right? I mean, that's how people. That's why it's justified.
That smile. Fair
that's
enough.
why
fair
it's
enough.
justified. But it's going to be interesting to see if that becomes more expensive than cable. Are people going to go back to cable, which is actually a superior product?
I don't know.
But the thing is there going to be anything left on cable? Because there are going to be any networks left on cable? To me, it's like streaming is a pain in the ass to navigate over watching on cable. And people are going to have to start. They're going to make decisions on: are we going to have Netflix or are we going to watch the Padres? Am I going to be able to watch the Padres or am I going to watch this? Am I going to be able to watch the Thursday night games or am I going to spend money on the Monday night games? Because the way we're headed in terms of what things cost to watch sports, people are going to start making decisions on, I can't do this anymore. I mean, I was telling Annie, I paid $50 at Petco Park for 2 hot dogs and a beer. $50. I was like, I can't believe people do this on a nightly basis. And on top of that, to try to watch products.
How? The Friar Frank's like $7.
It's $9.
$9.
It's $8.99 in a 16-ounce Michelob Ultra was like $20. I mean, it was a $50 transaction for 2 hot dogs and a beer, and people are paying it because they want to go and have a good time. But it's coming to a point where, like when you would take, for those of you that like take your kids to Disneyland, that's like a once in a year thing, and you're going all out. You got to spend all this money. That's what it's going to be like for any family to watch any sporting event live, and it's probably eventually going to leak into. We're going to pick and choose which games that we get to watch because I can't afford to pay $20 a month per streaming service that they're going to put it on. Because here's the thing.
It's just getting ridiculous. Like,
people are just not going to do it anymore, right?
Do I really want to sign up for you right now?
Because as Adam said in the chat, right? As he says in the chat, that's a huge ask. They don't care. I mean, if they got Peacock and Amazon and Apple TV all giving them the same amount of money for like a third of the pie, they're going to make you do it. And they're going to know diehard NFL people are going to pay for that, and diehard college football and diehard NBA and all the diehards are going to be like, I have to do this. I have to watch my team. And it's going to get to a point where people are making decisions financially. Like, I can't watch every Padre game anymore.
Yeah. If anyone who's tried to cancel cable before knows, you can call now, they'll give you a deal. And honestly, that deal really will rival most of the time what you're
Right.
paying for streaming. But the point that you're making about what is left on cable, that's a valid one.
What's going to be
But
left
like
on
for
it?
my dad, like he had Red Zone with DirecTV, but he
Mhm.
did, and
Right.
it's and on YouTube TV, what I will say is they do allow you to have a multi-view streaming experience or whatever. So you can watch the baseball. Like last night, you could have watched the NBA and the NHL side by side or whatever, and I'm sure other things do this as well, but that was kind of cool. But then there's a lot that's not on YouTube. So
Right.
you just gotta, I use Roku too, and it does get to be a pain sometimes. Like you have to decide because you don't want to keep going in and out of the different apps
Right.
every 5 seconds.
Right.
So I do think cable is superior, but I don't know what's going to be left on it, and I don't know how many people are going to commit to paying all these different streamers for these
Right.
1-off or 5-off games.
Well, right now you have the companies that are doing both, right? They're putting everything on cable and on streaming, but now they're only going to exclusively do streaming. The
Mhm.
thing that's going to get interesting is whether or not these streaming providers are going to continue to spend on media rights when people are going to just be buying and canceling. Because that's the other thing too. Like when are they going to? Because the big thing with streaming that goes against cable is you're not locked into a contract. You could quit whenever, right? You pay the month. Like I'm done after this month. When are they going to put in like, hey, when you commit, you got to be committed for 6 months. You can't just bail.
Sure,
And
but
at
they
that
don't need
point-
to, Braden, because it's the same thing as the gym membership. They're counting on you simply to forget.
To forget.
And they have learned over years of data that that's what mostly happens is someone
Mhm.
signs up,
I do
they
that all the time.
forget, right? And then like 6 months later, they review their bill or they review their checking account and they're like, oh God, I forgot I was paying for Peacock.
Satan's blowfish, dude. Wake up, dude. You are making so many invalid points about streaming. Get
I
your
am a
head
streamer.
out of the gutter.
I cut cable. I stream. I exclusively stream it, and so
Aside from price,
it's not
cable
bad.
is
It's
a
more the
superior product.
convenience of being able to flip from one sports game to another that I'm.
Cable is superior for sports watching. It's not even a contest. There's no delay ever.
Let's take a break.
No delay.
We got to take
ever.
a break. We got to go play hot potato. We're playing silly games next, playing hot potato. So we are looking for a contestant right now. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. This is our fast-paced game of trivial knowledge. And whoever wins will be qualified for a chance to take down our grand prize drawing at the end of the month, a 2-night stay at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to Kool and the Gang. We are playing hot potato next. We're looking for a contestant during the break at 833-288-0973. You're listening to Annie and Elsten on The Fan. Welcome back, Annie and Elsten on the Fan. This is the segment where we like to play silly games. I'll explain more about why we're not playing the game I thought we would today momentarily. But let's get to the game we need to play. We're running out of time, and today it's time for Hot Potato. Here we go, trying to qualify someone for our end of the month grand prize drawing for a 2-night stay at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to see Kool and the Gang. And today we have Nick in La Mesa, my adopted hometown, on the line. Nick, welcome to Annie and Elsten and to Hot Potato. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm born and raised here in San Diego. Live out here in La Mesa. Avid Padre fan, still a Charger fan as well. And just overall love sports.
Outstanding. All right, Nick, you're here to play Hot Potato. Here's how it works. It's very simple. Braden, once again, with his cunning, devious mind, has come up with 3 different lists of things. Okay, it could be sports. It could be, and often will be food. It could be anything. But what's going to happen is he's going to tell us the topic of the list. You'll go first on question 1. You'll name something off that list. You get to pick Annie or myself to play against. We go back and forth. Whoever gets it wrong or can't answer drops the hot potato. Best 2 out of 3 wins. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
Who do you want to play?
I'll play Elsten.
All right, that's me. By the way, that's 3 in a row. So
That's
next
your
time
la-
you're
yeah.
guaranteed play.
Okay, I'm happy to let you have this one.
You're playing
Craig.
Mind the Gap tomorrow,
All right.
yes, Annie.
Here we go. Hot potato.
I'm
time.
afraid Annie would beat me.
Oh, no.
Well, I'm glad.
It's a nice fear to have. I don't know how warranted it is, but I love that you picked Craig today.
I'm
So.
glad you said you're from San Diego. I have 2 local San Diego questions. It would have been kind of difficult if you're not from here.
All right, well,
We're
hopefully
just-
I'll get them right.
We're going to start with number 1. Name me high schools in San Diego.
Oh,
This is a
and you
good
get to go
one.
first.
Okay.
Okay. Point Loma High School.
Point Loma, go Pointers.
Grossmont.
Foothillers.
Helix.
Highlanders.
Patrick Henry.
Patriots.
Carlsbad.
Lancers.
Oh my God.
Torrey Pines.
Falcons.
La Jolla.
Vikings.
I love this kid. Francis Parker.
Lancers.
Mission Bay.
Buccaneers.
Hang on, this is just becoming a Lincoln.
Hornets.
We can go down south. Chula Vista.
Oh, nice.
Spartans.
Montgomery.
Aztecs.
Ooh, I like that one. San Isidro.
I think they're the Cougars.
Madison.
Warhawks.
Ooh, I like it. St. Augustine.
St. Augustine Saints.
Okay. Modern day.
Crusaders, formerly known as Marian Catholic.
We can stay with the Catholics. Cathedral.
Don.
I wasn't sure if it had been used yet. Shoot. Was La Jolla used?
Yes.
Well, then I drop. I said La Jolla. That was
No, it's going East County.
Valhalla
You
North.
could have done La Jolla Country
Granite
Day.
Hills, Valhalla.
Oh, you're right. I could have, Nick. But you know what? You're up 1-0 instead.
And
So
we're running out of time.
Good job. Good job.
exactly right. Let's go to topic 2. Now I need to win or else Nick wins.
That's right. Nobody would stump me on the Mascot.
And I
in
go
high school,
first.
so-
I go first on this one.
Well, this is a good one for you. Name San Diego breweries, and there's a lot of them.
Oh, all right. Jeez. Helix.
Helix Brewing, yeah.
I wouldn't know this one,
Don's
though.
company.
Oh, that's out by me. I see you. Modern Times.
Modern Times, yeah, it's a good one.
We both live in La Mesa, Nick. And I'll go Bolt. I'll stay on the engineering row and I'll go Bolt.
Bolt Brewery.
Oh, actually was going to use that one next. Dang it. The breweries are where it might get me. Ballast Point, I guess technically.
Yep,
San
Mount
Diego.
Point from
sure,
San
absolutely.
Diego.
I'm just going to take a little turn off of center and head down Jackson. And how about Little Miss?
Little Miss Brewing Company. Yeah, we got a couple of those all over the place.
What is? Oh, I'm totally blanking on the one that's next to the sports arena. That's not. Oh yeah, you already said that one. Bolt Brewing.
We
Yeah,
already said
I
Bolt
dropped.
Brewing.
You got it.
Drop the potato. We go to round 3. Here we go. This is for it all.
Tiebreaker.
Nick.
This is the
Here we
most
go.
difficult one. Padres are playing the Rockies this week. Can you name me the all-time top 24 players in Rockies history?
Wow. Top 24.
Just
This is by war.
Is that
Yeah, it's by war. Who the best Rockies are?
Just pick
I go
one.
first again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you go first.
Okay, Todd Helton.
Todd Helton,
Absolutely. Vinny Castilla.
Vinny Castilla, number 10 on the list.
Does Nolan Arenado count?
Yeah, he's
Sure.
number 3 all time.
Andres Galarraga.
Andres Galarraga.
What the?
That's a good one.
Le Grand Chat.
I'll take your word for it, but I
Sure.
think that's, I don't know what he looks like. Andres there he is, number 15.
Thank you.
Yeah, it sounded right.
What a batting title
Larry
for them.
Walker.
Larry
Oh,
Walker.
there you go.
Money.
Got to go Dante Bichette.
Dante Bichette.
Come on,
That's a
Nick.
good one. I think Trevor Story is on this list.
Trevor Story is on that list.
Good one. Let's go Cargo. Carlos Gonzalez.
Carlos Gonzalez is on that list.
Oh, dang it. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty.
We are.
Blackman.
Charlie Blackman
has
is
to be.
7 all time.
Has
Nice.
to be. Oh God, Craig, don't drop
He's
it
a
here.
Padre killer.
Don't drop it here. Jeff Cirillo?
Jeff Cirillo.
No,
I don't see him on here.
I lose. How did I lose this one? Jeff Francis. Was Jeff Francis on there?
I thought I saw him, but yep, Jeff Francis is number 24.
I should have gone Jeff Francis.
You know what?
You win.
Nick, good job.
Congratulations. Hang on right there,
yeah,
buddy.
Awesome.
Congratulations. Great job. Stay there. Braden will get your information during the break. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're gonna beat yourself.
I could have
up
done the
about
high
this
school math. I
all
could have done the
day.
high schools all
I really
day.
am. I really am.
I really like the first two though.
I think I could have kept
the
going
last
on.
one was good too. It's just a stumper.
Breweries, I could have kept going for a while.
Oh yeah.
I like me beer. Our number 4 of the show is next. I always love the fallout to Hot Potato as in the chat we're going through all the different brewery names here in San Diego, all the different high school team names and mascots along the way.
I would have crushed anybody in that one.
No, it would not have even been a contest.
Yes.
It's like bouncing a ball against the wall. Basically,
Right.
It's like boop, boop, pop, boop,
Nick
boop,
said he
boop.
had a lot more. I mean, we didn't dive into all the East County schools, and he was ripping them off though.
Yeah. I mean, I should have been able to keep going on that too. I just wanted we had a short
Right.
short segment.
You know what? Craig kind of took one for the team there because he knew that was going to last the entire time. It was like, oh wait, did they already say La Jolla? Oh,
Right.
sorry,
La
time to move
Jolla.
on. 100%.
I mean, I wanted to blow out the clock just by naming breweries.
Mhm.
Just going through Virgin and Roulette
I
and
wonder if you could name all of them.
Yes, and no, I
There's
can't name them
so
all.
many.
But there's a lot.
There's San Diego.org has a list of all the San Diego breweries, complete list of breweries in the county. It doesn't say how many. I'd have to count them, but there are a lot. And it was updated on October 2020. Like, have you ever heard of Nickel Brewery?
Maybe.
They are Nickel Beer Company's up in Julian. Never heard of them. Right? I mean, there's so many on here. Somebody lists OG's. Does OG's count? They make their own beer. Does that count?
If they make their own, well, I don't know.
That's like
Are
a
they
brewery
actually a
before.
brewery?
That's like
Yeah.
a brewery before brewery. It's like
Small
with,
batch.
like with Gordon Biersch. Remember they had their own beers and stuff.
Right.
Like BJ's makes their own beers. Like, and we
Yes.
count. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I've heard of Savage Wood. Roller Brewing Company, El
Yeah.
Camino Real in Carlsbad.
Yep. I think it's Roulette.
Roulette.
Is how it's said. We recorded a Padres Hot Tub Emergency podcast there when Juan Soto was signed or traded
nice.
for. That's where we went.
I
Ran
know.
over there.
I know 3 Point Gales exist. You wear that shirt all the time.
Oh, you know it. I was
Viewpoint.
holding that one. I had that way back in the quiver. Like, I wasn't going to go down 2-0 and lose on the breweries.
If you would have lost in the breweries, you would
Yeah,
never been able
I
to come
was-
back. You would
I
have to
was
take a
gonna-
week off.
I would have lost in the breweries.
Yeah, I was going to
no
take
doubt.
us till 105 doing the breweries if we had to. But
You're like through the break.
Viewpoint Brewing Company, I want to check out. Looks pretty cool.
let's reset some of the topics of the show here as we are in our final hour. San Diego Padres get the win last night, 3-1. Obviously, and we spent some time in this segment talking about this yesterday, and you want to see the team get up into that 4, 5, 6 run category, obviously even higher if you can. But we want to see the team start to consistently get over the 4 line. If you get to that line with the pitching that the Padres have, with the defense that they should be able to throw out there and succeed every day, that's a good solid path to 88 to 90 wins. As point of fact, they have gone under that number more than half the time by 1. Now, in 13 of 25 games, they've gone under that number. But 13 of 25 games, they've won. So last night, the second time they've won, scoring 3 runs in a game. And to do that at Coors Field, it means you had great pitching. And frankly, Dylan Cease right now is pitching at an award-winning level. Let me put it that way. I don't want to put too much pressure. He is pitching at an award-winning level right now for the San Diego Padres.
I mean,
would agree with that.
there's no other way to put it. He's allowed 1 hit from a right-hander all season long. He has an MLB best 0.19 batting average allowed
That is
on
so
that
dumb,
one
by the way.
right-handed hit.
That is that is so dumb. That is so ridiculously good. It's dumb.
Right,
It's so dumb.
right. It's like you don't even. It feels weird saying it because you don't ever say that kind of number,
Yeah.
know. But even more so, he just seems to look like he's getting stronger with every start, and he's put together a few back-to-back ones here that have just been like really almost like he's cruising. I mean, he made Coors Field look like it was any other ballpark in the country, when that is not the case. There's altitude there. There's a lot of weirdness that plays in that ballpark. And he looked like someone forgot to tell him that it was Coors Field that he was pitching it. Just absolutely cruised through it, made it look very, very easy, looks very dominant. He's efficient. Yes, I always say it. I know a long season ahead, but you got to be loving what you're seeing from Dylan Cease to this point.
He's great.
Hey, you've got one of the best pitching coaches in the country in Ruben Niebla. You've got Cease, who's in the prime of his career. He's got a great arm. He's got electric stuff. He's a very smart kid.
Yeah.
Like he's very knowledgeable. He's very curious. He's the type of player that's always looking to improve. He's even tinkering with a couple of new pitches along the way. But much like a couple hours ago, we spoke about Jurickson Profar and how a player and a market cannot be a fit, or a player and a team cannot be a fit. I think Dylan Cease and a just completely crappy White Sox organization wasn't a fit. And while he was electric a couple years ago on pure stuff, last year playing on a dog team, he gets a little bit off to the wrong start, gets in your head. I really think Cease has shown that you pair him with a good coach, a good defense, in a good ballpark, and you've got yourself a great pitcher.
You kind of see this happen with the Dodgers a lot. You see, and don't get me wrong, they do a great job with their development and with turning a player that looks average into great, right? But you see this effect now with the Padres, where a player used to come to the Padres before and you knew you'd be out of it by August. There isn't a whole ton of motivation except for your own personal numbers. But a lot of Dodgers players will talk about when a guy comes to that team, they know, like, you have to come with your best. This is a team that expects to go to the playoffs, expects to contend. And so you see that with the Padres a little bit now, where you enter a team that has these kind of superstars. They have expectations that are realistic, that they plan to be in the postseason. That's something that now fans expect, the team expects, the organization expects. And it does tend to bring the best out of you. And when you have a match like that, and then also a guy like Ruben Niebla, Ben Fritz, their coaching staff, guys who want to work with you and bring the best out of you as well, and aren't afraid to let you try some new things and try to even get your pitching repertoire even better, it's a really good combination.
So that went great. De Los Santos was great. Robert Suarez got in a little trouble and then dialed up a 101-mile-an-hour fastball, got a double play ball out of it. And San Diego beats a downtrodden Colorado Rockies team 3-1. I was listening, taking James to a swim lesson yesterday, listening to Sam on the pregame show and him going through some of the numbers. And as Tony Gwynn Jr. likes to say, the PTSD of being a Padres fan, I was feeling it because I heard him go 5 and 17 and
5
rank
and 18.
this and rank that. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many times have we heard this and then get to the other side of it and go, how did we split with the 5 and 17 team? How did we just lose to this team? So I'm thrilled that they got the job done.
Look, even the worst teams in Major League Baseball are going to usually win 50 or 60 games. So they're going to win. They're going to win. And you just are trying to not let it happen against your team, right? Because these are teams that you feel like you should beat. They're Major League Baseball players. Only a select few have made it to this level. They don't have a great team, but that doesn't mean that they completely stink and that they can't do anything. And so when it's not your night, it's not your night. And that's what the Padres have a chance to do, and why Craig kind of goes to that stat of winning against the Dodgers keeping it whatever.
Yeah, wins against the Dodgers minus losses against the Rockies.
Thank you. You want to go in and you want to take care of business against the teams that are not as talented as you.
Well, especially when you're playing a schedule where everybody's a playoff team basically until August, except for your Rockies series. This schedule is so tough, and you've got back-to-back this coming weekend, the Phillies and the Reds coming in. Phillies this weekend, the Reds to follow Monday through Wednesday. But those are two teams that are currently ahead of you in the wild card standings and are going to be there, probably Philly for sure, till the end. I mean, I think Cincy will be there till the end. They're a young team ascending, so these games then become your opportunity to build in an error bar on your season. You want to have that chance to have a stumble here and there and not have it be, oh, well, that's what cost us. So taking care of Colorado solves so many issues for you as a club. And tonight it's Michael King. He's coming off a dominant outing. He's facing a team with 6 right-handed batters locked into the lineup. I'm guessing, I don't know. Does Higashioka start again today after the way they paired so well together behind the dish last time?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if I see that. That's a great thing to look for as we wait for this lineup to come out.
What to watch?
Yeah, what to watch. The keys to the game. Right. I think it's interesting too what Dylan Cease was saying about changing his sight lines in order be able to pitch at Coors Field, so that his aim for his fastballs or whatever he was throwing was a little bit different because of the way the ball moves there. Michael King now will have the challenge of doing that. And, we saw a few starts ago where he talked about he was grooving that fastball a little too much. He fixed it this last start, but he will also have a challenge here at Coors Field in terms of being able to keep the ball where he wants it. And that's any pitcher at Coors Field. So I don't know, I'm not putting a ceiling on Michael King. He might go out there and pitch another almost no hitter like he did last time. But hopefully he can keep the Padres in it, go a little deeper. Don't tax the bullpen too much. You're going to need them most likely over the next 2 games. And then also offense, 3 runs. No one's discounting those 3 runs, but might be good to get some insurance as well.
Considering, Michael has some interesting lineup choices today. And for the guy who's basically, I don't want to say punted, but he has decided to write the same lineup over and over again.
And remember, you're not going to have Manny in the lineup.
Well, that's what I was thinking. So yesterday,
he up for the week?
I think
Or is he going to fly back to Colorado?
He could fly back to Colorado for that last game. But if I was Manny, you're out for that week in Colorado.
Just wait for them to come back. It's not like they're on starting a road trip where they're going to Philly next.
They need to be able to win this without Manny.
Yeah, they should be able to.
They really do.
Which is something that is incredible, because I just think even a month ago, Annie, I guess it's April 23rd, so we'd already played 2 games by then, but 6 weeks ago, saying, well, you don't have Soto and now you don't have Manny. Like, oh boy, our offense is going to be in big trouble. But
that's at the bottom of the order doing their job.
That's it.
Right.
As point of fact, the biggest, there's several things that are big changes from 23 to 24. But I think what's so far been the biggest change is that you have eliminated these deep negative offensive wells. Catcher last year, Austin Nola, bless him, he couldn't get on. He was an out every time.
Couldn't see.
Right. He literally couldn't see for times. The DH position by this time last year had begun a trend where for the next 2 months, no one would get on base. Nelson Cruz and Matt Carpenter would just strike out every single time they came to the plate. And Trent Grisham, you knew what you ever got from Trent Grisham.
Yeah.
He was never going to hit 200. Like, he'll never hit 200 unless he has a dramatic change in the way he approaches offensive baseball. Trent Grisham will never hit 200 in the big leagues. So you had that at the bottom of your order every single day, dragging the team down. The DH position, fizzling out key innings, and then the bottom of the order just going 1-2, 1-2 at the bottom, and getting nothing out of it. And you've replaced that with Jackson Merrill hitting 300, with Luis Camposano hitting 315. You've replaced the deep negatives. And of course, Manny's been at DH, OPSing around 800. So you've replaced the deep negatives with average to positive to even better. And I think that's the biggest difference in this offense this year.
Yeah. You've had those upgrades. And then their offensive approach, I think that they've come in with a little bit more intention and buying in maybe to whatever the offensive mantra is. And we've talked about that before, what they're trying to do there at the plate. And then you've got a team that doesn't want to, you have players, superstar players who are like, I do not want a repeat of last year. I do not want to, 1 year is an anomaly, 2 years is the trend, right?
Right.
And you don't want to have that happen again. So you have a lot of different motivations this year, but no doubt about it, the lineup looks more balanced and upgraded. And that bottom of the lineup really has been tremendously helping this team to start the season.
So today, I think he's got a couple of interesting choices. Here's a choice A he could make. It's to benefit his pitcher, keep his offense going, and hurt his defense a little bit, which is he could start Higashioka behind the plate, DH Camposano today because Machado was out,
right,
and return Jurickson to left field where he normally plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, he made the choice to put Profar at DH and put Azokar, who's a better defender, in left field out there because it's such a gigantic outfield, and you go with your plus defensive outfield of Azokar with Merrill with Tatis. I think maybe I would gamble today and throw Jurickson back in left and put Campy at DH today and let Higashioka run King's start.
I like that. You can always sub Azokar in. So I like that. I think that you put Jurickson back over there. You Campy as your DH. He had a good game yesterday. Let him keep rolling with that, especially if you're deciding that Higashioka and Michael King, as they did work together really well last time, they've got the relationship from their time in the Yankees. Maybe that does become a little bit of a platoon for them.
Campy's the one guy that we didn't talk about enough for yesterday's game. He was the hidden hero of the game.
He was, and he came off hot. He started the season hot, then he had a little bit of a dip, and now he's been hitting again lately. And you're going to see that, right, with hitters. But I like what I'm seeing from him. He was aggressive yesterday.
The single
2 doubles.
Yeah, 2 doubles. But the thing that no one talks about, but that he did so well, critical, his base running.
I was just going to say the base running.
His base running. He hustled
He
into
timed
second
that
base.
well.
Yep. And he got a good jump on the base hit by Wade. He read it well. He got a good secondary lead. He got a good jump because all 3 of the Rockies outfielders have very good arms.
They have good arms. They have strong arms.
Yeah, all 3 guys can throw missiles.
And it was close.
It was a really good throw. Like, it was a good enough throw to get him out if he has a poor secondary lead or if he even takes one beat, if he even bounces once. When Wade swings, he would have been out at home. So Campy did a great job yesterday with the stick, but also with the legs. Of course, he called a great game as well. He was back there for Dylan Cease's brilliance and what the bullpen was able to do. He stole a strike in the 9th inning. He's done a lot of that. He's stolen a bunch of strikes this year. I just loved the way Higashioka and King synced last time. And I feel like if there's one guy on the staff who just knows how to run that little and press in the right sequence for King, it's got to be Higashioka.
And I don't mind when you have those little pairings. I think that's, obviously you want to be able to catch whoever and you want to be able to work together because there's going to be times when you're going to need to use your full battery and everybody needs to know how to work with everyone because it's just not going to go perfectly all year long. But I don't mind a little bit of, hey, this is good for both of them. Higashioka gets to feel good about it back there. Now, the question is, and I think what you'll run into is you get Higashioka then, who's also been catching Matt Waldron. So you've got those back-to-back days for Higashioka, right?
That's true.
And so you go 2 days in a row for him.
But you have no Manny, so Campy could just camp at DH.
Right. No, can be DH. But are you, I guess, if you have no Manny, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Get into the gymnastics in my head.
Waiting for the mini Machado to show up, as Ben said.
Mini Machado.
So fun. I'm excited for them.
I like it.
I am too. Let's take a break. When we come back, a little more Padres, because there's a second lineup choice to be made today. Is it Tyler Wade or is it Graham Pauley at third base? Would seem like Pauley, but man, Tyler Wade, Tyler the creator, did it again last night.
Tyler Wade, a hidden gem.
A surprise, right? Absolute surprise. Plus a couple of things we want to clean out of the notebook, including transfer portal. A dubious sign for San Diego State basketball. What happened over the last weekend for San Diego basketball? What happened over the last weekend? We'll chat about that when we come back as well. Ask us anything to wrap up the show. Stay right here, dear friends. Annie and Elsten continues on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. What's baseball really like? Join former Padre and MLB All-Star Brett Boone and his big league friends on his podcast, The Boone Podcast. 3 days a week, Brett talks with Hall of Famers, fellow All-Stars, and friends to get their take on today's game and to relive their greatest stories from when they played the game. Follow The Boone Podcast in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Graham Pauley or Tyler Wade tonight? What do you think?
Tyler Wade. Because I think you ride the hot hand.
I agree with you.
I don't know that it is a good idea. I'm not sure what's going on with Graham Pauley. I do think he needs to play every day.
Yeah.
You got to let him start going at some point if you're going to keep him up here. But it's hard to sit Tyler Wade.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
He could start Graham Pauley and then do the same thing. Like Tyler Wade did talk and has talked this season about how he feels really comfortable coming off the bench. Like that's a position that doesn't scare him. He's used to it. He did it in New York. He's figured out how to make the most out of that position and how to prepare. So maybe if you're the manager, maybe, okay, let's roll Graham Pauley and then throw Tyler Wade in there in
pinch hit or defensive overhead.
Right. But I don't know.
I think you've laid out the parameters correctly, Annie. I mean, the head says Pauley because you called him up. Like, why did you call him up?
Right.
You called him up to play one game and now you're going to bench him. Like, then you should have left him in El Paso. He was perfectly happy down there raking and hitting homers. Well, he wasn't perfectly happy. He'd much rather draw a big league salary. I'll accept that. But he was succeeding and he was building momentum in his career down there. Now you've brought him up. So you got to play him. So the head says, start Graham Pauley. You're in Coors Field. You're facing a right-hander. He's not a 98-mile-an-hour guy. Start Graham Pauley. Maybe you'll hit a homer. For me, I'm not worried about Graham Pauley's bat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he's going to be a good hitter. I'm worried about his glove. I don't think we can afford a leaky glove anywhere on the field. The Padres need to be elite at run prevention and defense, and they have been elite at infield defense. And when you replace somebody with, whatever you want to say about him so far in his career, Graham Pauley has not succeeded defensively in the minor leagues. He has not succeeded at third base in a very short stint here in the big leagues either. So that's all I'm honestly concerned about. The reason I agree that I would start Tyler Wade is because I feel confident if there's two runners on and they hit the ball to him, that he could start a double play.
Yeah. But so then for Graham Pauley, does he need more games to be able to sink into a position and do better? Or is he your DH? What are you doing with him?
That's option 3, right? We went with Campy as a potential option for DH today. Profar was the choice yesterday. You could go double third baseman and DH Pauley and play Wade in the field. But then if you wanted to start Higashioka, you're taking Campy out of the lineup then. So it's a tough one today. Earn your money today, Mr. Schilt.
And so for the Rockies today, right-handed pitcher Ryan Feltner, and I'm lifting this right out of Jeff Sanders' game preview. He allowed 6 runs in 5 1/3 innings in his last start and has been worse on the road, 6.46 ERA, than he was in his one Coors Field start this year, 1.5 ERA, 6 innings pitched. He has a 2.75 earned run average in 4 career starts against the Padres, including throwing 5 shutout innings in a no decision last year. Last year. But that was Gomber also had I think a good line against the Padres, and well, for the most part, I guess he kind of held that. But
yeah.
So you got a righty on the mound. Again, no one that is elite. You're not, but someone who in the past has been able to get the best of these Padres.
Same old story with these guys.
Yeah.
Throw it away. I mean, same thing with Gomber yesterday. Well, Austin Gomber's pretty good against the Padres. I'm tired of being intimidated by these bottom tier pitchers in Major League Baseball. I mean, Ryan Feltner's a big leaguer. He's won a 20-something thousand. He's got something I'll never do in my life, and I congratulate him, but the Padres should rack him around.
Yeah.
He's not a great elite start. He's not Dylan Cease out there. He's Ryan Feltner.
Yeah, go out there and make him have to adjust to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of that, I think it was in Ace's newsletter today, but it was a tiny little thing, but it really stuck out to me. Jackson Merrill was talking about his at bat in the 9th inning to turn 2-1 to 3-1. And it was just a very slight comment, but it was about mindset. I don't have it in front of me, but paraphrase.
You want me to read it to you?
Yeah, go for it.
The first heater of the AB of the at-bat kind of got on me, Merrill said. I knew I was kind of late. I just wanted to put the bat on the ball, just make them make a play. Guy on second, there's pressure. They're already down. They've got to make a play to get out of it. Just put the ball in play and see what happens. Is that what you're referring to?
Guys on second, there's pressure.
Mhm.
They're already down.
And when you put the ball in play, you have a decent shot at it going your way. If you don't put the ball in play, this is what Mike Schultz talked about too. And you hear obviously other managers say it, make them make a play. Don't just,
Correct.
don't be passive about it. Make them, force them to make a play. And sometimes they're going to get you out. Like that one yesterday with Campusano, like perhaps he would have, maybe a step or two behind or whatever. Make them make the play.
Last season, I can't wait to not talk about last season. I honestly, I can't wait.
Next year.
But last season, the Padres would come up with runners with the bases loaded, nobody out.
Yeah.
And the pressure was on the hitter.
Yes. Yeah.
Every time the hitter would put pressure on themselves. Oh my God, squeeze the bat until sawdust starts creeping out the bottom of it and would be strikeout, pop out, fly out. But in that comment, just throwaway comment, he says, runner on second, pressure's on them. They have to make a play. And I don't know how many times we heard Mug Grant say that on the broadcast last year, like pleading to the baseball gods. The pressure's on the pitcher. It's not on you. The pressure's on them.
Right.
And that's the difference. When you have a bat to ball approach at the plate, you're putting the pressure on the pitcher. You're like, come to me, meat. I'm going to be able to put it where you put it. I'm going to hit it outside.
Right.
It's that approach that makes a pitcher scared.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's putting them in that little pressure chamber, and it's a mentality when you go into the batter's box. It's a mentality where you are like kind of feast on them. You know what I mean? Like it's something I think also that hitters do in terms of just the gamesmanship of the game, getting in there, staring down, being ready, just kind of making sure that they're not looking like they are struggling to keep up with the pitcher. But we did hear it a lot last year, and there was a lot made of it where the hitters looked like they were always on the losing end of it, almost like they were the ones that had to, I don't have the right words for it right now. I told you my brain is mush in hour 4, but it just feels like you want to make sure that the pitcher is the one that is feeling the heat, that is feeling the pressure, that is feeling the stress the pitcher out. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because there was just so many times where we as a collective lineup, speaking of the Padres, expanded the zone with when it should be the exact opposite, right? Make them come to you.
Right.
And instead it was always, I've got to be the hero. The guy behind me isn't hitting. If I don't get a hit, the next guy's not going to get a hit. And then we're going to be 2 outs and then we're going to be in trouble. And that's going away. It's slowly, it won't all go away at once. It's slowly dissipating. And the biggest thing for me, as you said earlier in the show, sometimes there's that 10% of a team that's just believing that you can do it. That's what the Padres didn't have last year. They never had the belief in those situations that they really were the badasses up there at the plate that were scaring the pitcher and that they were going to get the job done. It was always the flip of that. And that's what's got me excited.
Right. It's funny because, we rightfully look at athletes as being so different, and they are so much more mentally, a lot of times, so much more mentally stable, not mentally stable, mentally stronger.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're also mentally stable, but hopefully aren't we all, right?
Speak for yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they're mentally stronger. They're able to fight through certain uncomfortable situations and things like that. But in terms of confidence, they're very much like you and I. They're in terms of insecurities and confidence and things like that. They're just like your average person, your normal human, where if you're having a bad day and everything's going wrong and you're getting a flat tire and, someone accidentally dropped coffee on you and whatever, your tendency is to think, well, this is going to compound. This is going to keep getting worse. And when you're going through a whole baseball season, you not only are getting hit with some bad luck, but you're also kind of creating your own bad luck, not intentionally, but it's just kind of that self-fulfilling prophecy. And so there is a part of baseball, especially where there is some luck involved and there is just some good mojo where you are battling down mentally the opponent across from you. And it's so different than any other sport because it's so individual in so many ways. And being able to have that collective mentality as a team, but being able to do it in an individual fashion, it's a really unique to the sport.
We always get on a roll. We start talking baseball, we get on a roll with one another. I did want to bring up one other thing before to break, which was the topic that came up over the course of the weekend. Micah Parrish, now former San Diego State Aztec, still an Aztec for life, but not in terms of his tenure on campus. He's gone. He has gone to Ohio State via the transfer portal. Bryce Pope, UCSD training, no longer. He has gone to join Eric Musselman at USC. I know Braden, I believe it was Mark Ziegler that reported that it was $400,000 that Micah Parrish is getting in name, image, and likeness money to transfer to Ohio State. The Aztecs brought in a player of their own that they faced, I believe, from Florida Atlantic the year prior. But I just feel with these numbers going up and up, Braden, that it's putting not just San Diego State, but USD, UCSD, all of our local colleges into a situation where when they get a good player, how are they going to be able to keep him anymore?
Yeah, USD lost Wayne McKinney III. They lost Deuce Turner, and they lost Kevin Patton Jr. yesterday. Well, the two prior were a different time, but they ended up losing Kevin Patton Jr. yesterday, who's their freshman phenom that they had a year ago, and he was kind of a late transfer out. But it's going to be tough to hang on to a lot of those guys, especially with some of the money. I will say this, though. Talking to people that are very much involved with NIL at San Diego State and them talking to other people at other schools, at Power 5 schools, this is unsustainable for every NIL group. I mean, even like the top schools are sitting there going like, we can't be dishing this out year in and year out because we're not getting the return on our investment for a couple of things. Obviously, no one that is spending money on NIL is making money off the player. I mean, you could say everything you want about like putting a kid in like a car commercial, but he's not worth $400,000 in a car commercial for a local, establishment. So they're not making money off of it. They're basically just donating money to a fund, and then they're using that to pay kids to play sports. And a lot of boosters it's already starting, but it's going to go into a spot where it's like, why am I going to spend all this money on an 18-year-old that I don't even know if he can play yet? Because he's not fully developed, and it's basically on a chance. You're taking a chance. These are not like contracts that you sign for professionals where you know what you're getting. These are all expectations. Like we're assuming this 17-year-old kid in high school is going to be a stud, or like we're assuming that this guy is going to have the same success at our school that he had at another school. And then if he does really well, he's going to leave, because it's not just USD and San Diego State and UCSD. It's every school. I mean, TCU doesn't even have a basketball team right now. I mean, that's a Power 5 school that dishes out a ton of money, and they're losing players to other schools. And guys are going like, well, I might be making $500,000 here at TCU, but Texas A&M is going to pay me $600,000. And if you're the player and you're on 1-year deals, I mean, you can't fault the player, right? It's that old saying, like, don't blame the player, blame the game. That's really what you're getting right now. I just don't. It's just not sustainable in the long run. So as much as right now the writing on the wall of like, there's no way San Diego could compete with this, that is true. But I don't think this is going to be a permanent world with NIL, because I think a lot of places aren't going to be able to keep this up for a long period of time. But in perspective of what you're talking about, Craig, Micah Parrish has kind of been a disappointment for San Diego State the last couple of years. He got $400,000 to leave, right? San Diego State's entire budget for basketball is $1.5 million. You can't afford to pay a guy like Micah Parrish $400,000 for him to go to Ohio State, for him not even like to be, that big of a guy. I mean, I've talked about it before with some kids that I know that play at Texas A&M now. They're getting paid $400,000 and $300,000 to not play. They're not going to play. They're not good enough to be a starter at Texas A&M for football, and they are special teams guys making $400,000. If you're San Diego State football, how do you compete with that? You can't even play a quarterback that much money. So I just think it's going down a slippery slope. I think it's very much a unsustainable thing. The NCAA has shown how to completely destroy something overnight by not being proactive about it, by crossing your arms, going, we're not gonna change anything. We're not gonna go to any type of professional spot. And I'm not a big fan of NIL, but I will say these players at some point needed to be addressed, and they needed to get out in front of this, and they didn't. And now they have utter chaos in college athletics, and I think it's going to get worse. And where it really gets interesting, and we've talked about this before, is when, and these are the new lawsuits, these kids wanting to be employees of the school, which also, by the way, Craig, I didn't think about this until recently, having a conversation with some people in the press box. Think about all the state schools, right? If you're an employee of a state school, what are you? You're a government employee.
You're a government employee.
Right. So how much money are you going to get? Like, how much money is the state of Iowa going to be willing to pay their college basketball team in comparison to people that actually work for the government of Iowa? You can make an argument about one coach that's the head coach of the football team for the school making money, and even that's kind of ridiculous. But you're going to start paying 18 to 20-year-olds state employees that get taxpayer funding?
Yeah.
Like, how is that going to work?
I mean, I'm just thinking about Micah Parrish. Micah Parrish is a role-playing rotation player on a college basketball
He's not
team.
the superstar.
Right. And by the way,
he's not your best player.
It's not even a starter.
We all agree. Good for him.
Oh,
good for him.
Absolutely.
If somebody's going to pay you
him.
$400,000 to play a child's game at his age,
and congratulations to him.
Good for him.
But the point, the more overarching point, let's say that, of course, you've got some freshmen, you've got some walk-ons on your team, but if you're going to pay your rotation at least $400,000 each, that's $3.2 million for just an 8-person college basketball
for 1 year
rotation for a year. Right. And if it's not actually coming out of the money that's generated from the program, from
it's
ticket sales, revenue,
the TV money's not paying for that.
Right.
Those are just rich people that want to brag at their country club that they bought the team.
It's for the booster, it's an insane bad deal.
100%.
Just to wrap it, because I know we got to go to break, but if I was a UNLV booster in the 1980s, making suitcase payments to Jerry Tarkanian so that he can get Larry Johnson or Stacey Augmon on the team, that's a certain amount of money in a certain suitcase being dropped off in a parking structure, being thrown into somebody's trunk. It's not, $400,000, and it's for the best player. That's the other. It's for here's this superstar that's going to lead you to the Final Four. No, it's we need this kid who's going to average 7 points and shoot 31% from 3-point range. We got to give him $400,000. Like, are you kidding me? If I'm a booster, I'm like, let me get back to the days of cheating.
I've already been told that these clubhouses and these locker rooms are already a mess because you got 18 to 20 something year old kids that are getting paid like a pro that don't know how to act like a pro yet because they're not pros. Blame another guy. Well, he's making this and I'm only making this. And why do I got to care, coach? I'm only making that. It is already a problem in a lot of locker rooms in college athletics where guys are trying to bust their ass and then arguing that they should be getting the money that some of the players that are getting the money are not playing up to their level, and the blame game and going you're getting X amount of money. Why aren't you picking up the slack? It's already a circus in there. Because again, they're still kids. You have kids doing this.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a time out, but I thought that was an interesting.
No, it's
discussion.
Very interesting. It's going to get more interesting.
Yes, it's fascinating. We're going to see so many more ups and downs with it, and twists and turns and cautionary tales, and I mean, it's going to get wild, even wilder than it is now.
If the NBA wanted to make a really aggressive play with the G League, if they wanted to do some serious capital seeding to create legitimate payrolls, they could decimate college basketball. Now, they don't want to do that because they don't want to pay that money. They want rich people to pay that money and not them. But
that's a different thing is if they become employees, Craig, and in these schools, and you get rid of eligibility requirements, these schools and their fan bases and the logo and the tradition and the history, I'm telling you right now, people are going to watch that more than the G League. And then all of a sudden, these professional leagues, if they don't buy in and own these leagues, these college leagues, you're going to get, it's not going to be as crazy as this, but you're going to get that AFL, NFL matchup. You're going to get that Live Golf, PGA, and all of a sudden you got competition because they're all pros too.
When we come back, it's time for Ask Us Anything. That's our end of the show. Catch-all call-in segment where you can give us a buzz. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. You have 7 minutes to call the show. If you do, we'll throw you on hold. We'll put you up. And all we ask is that you ask us a question because the segment is called Ask Us
Anything
on Annie and Elsten on the Fan. in the history of the universe that you could teleport yourself to and see live, what would you want it to be?
I thought I answered this. It was Tony Gwynn's home run in Yankee Stadium, right?
That's pretty good. I was thinking about that
only
too.
because I didn't get to I would have loved to see that in person and seen the reaction and the silence in the stadium. And Tony Gwynn, so great, obviously.
I heard Tony Jr. was talking a lot of smack as a kid to the Yankees people around him on that home run.
Oh, really?
I've seen a video of it. It's kind of funny. Yeah, it's little Tony.
That's great.
I'll tie back right to the very first segment, reminding y'all that I'm a Lakers fan. I would go back to Boston Garden for the baby junior skyhook by Magic Johnson to beat the Celtics.
Oh, nice.
And I believe that was the 85 finals. Junior skyhook is what he called it.
Junior
He was working on it because Kareem had the skyhook. And then Magic hit a running hook in the lane, and he called it his junior skyhook.
Nice. I love it.
That he put on. So that's going to be my pick. Let's go to Justin in Vista. Hi, Justin. You're on with Annie and Elsten. Ask us anything.
Okay. Question for me today. Best vacation you've ever been on, and then dream vacation you'd love to go on.
Love it, Justin. Thank you so much for calling in.
I revert to my paddleboarding with the dolphins.
Ooh.
Last year, I think, actually, I was in Hawaii and I went out paddleboarding, and then there was like this school of dolphins that swam up around me out there in the ocean. And like I paddleboarded with them for a very long time. And it was really, really, really cool. They just kept like circling and doing their little jumping. And then where I would like to go is a yacht, Mediterranean, south of France, all that good stuff.
Ooh,
Yeah.
below deck.
Yes.
A below deck vacation.
That's right. But I don't want to be the
You don't want to be
decade.
You don't want to be on the show.
Right.
I don't want to be Kate. Although I would in another life.
Yeah.
I want to be I want to be like the
They have
ridiculous person.
Right. They have those
Rich
vacations. You just, that don't have to be on Bravo.
Right. You don't necessarily have to be televised.
Right. I don't want that either.
I've given a previous answer before. 2 years ago, we had a family vacation to Zion, and it was just great.
I love it.
It was absolutely
Zion's
great.
great.
So nice.
And it was the first time that my son really locked in. And now he's already asked me, what national park are we going to this year?
Oh, cool.
Because we did Yosemite last year and we did Zion the year before. But the Zion was it was great. We had a great place. We stayed. It was just a terrific vacation.
Nice.
I did an RV trip like that as a kid. From San Diego up to Montana and back. It was a 2-week vacation. We hit up like 3 or 4 national parks.
Nice.
Coolest thing ever. It was awesome.
Oh, Sailor P says he'd go back in time to the Joe Carter game. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy.
I'd go to the TCU Rose Bowl game.
Of course you would.
Well, I mean, that was before I was going to go to TCU. I watched it on TV, but it would have been cool to be at that. I've never been to the Rose Bowl, so it'd be kind of cool.
Oh, and keeping it real in the chat, we did go to Bryce Canyon on that trip as well.
Bryce's money also.
Yeah, we day tripped up. I think that's the most unique looking place in the United States.
Nice.
It's the spires.
With
This
the
incredible
brights
red
on there.
spires.
With the,
You know what's crazy is you
Grand
see that stuff
Tetons.
in Vegas or whatever. Like you see the make believe of that stuff.
Yeah,
And then to see it in person, it's got to be
you see the
incredible.
Disney production of it.
Right.
Right.
And then you're like, wow, nature. It's
Wow.
pretty amazing.
You're like, wow, this looks just like
like
Disney.
the real thing. yeah, you are. This looks like just like what they built in Vegas next to the Luxor.
Right.
Well, let's hope we have a Victory Wednesday to follow this Victory Tuesday. Gwen and Chris are next. Padres baseball at 5:40. Thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. This has been Annie and Elsten on The Fan.